All right. Notice to the public. If you wish to address the council, please complete the public wishing to address the council form located on the end of the counter and give it to either the chairman or the council clerk prior to the beginning of the meeting. All comments must be addressed to the council as a whole. Addressing individual council members or staff is not allowed. Speakers should be courteous in their choice of words and actions, and comments shall be limited to the issue and cannot involve individual or staff-related matters. All electronic devices used for communication should be silenced during the duration of the meeting. Thank you. I will now call the Community Development and Planning Committee to order, and I will do the invocation and pledge. Grant us grace, our Father, to do our work this day as workmen and workwomen who need not be ashamed. Give us the spirit of diligence and honest inquiry in our quest for truth, the spirit of charity in all our dealings with our fellows, and the spirit of gaiety, courage, and quiet mind in facing all tasks and responsibilities. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Mr. Lees, can we get a roll call?
Mr. Pleasure, Mr. Harding, Mr. Voisin, Mr. Amity, Mr. Champagne,
Here.
Mr. Hamner,
Here.
Mr. Babin, Ms. Chauvin, Mr. Trusclair. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum present.
Thank you. All right, item number 1. A motion to amend the condemnation order adopted on April 28, 2026 on the residential and accessory structures located at 260 St. Malo Street, Houma, Louisiana, owned by Shelby J. and Rita Mae Kajer, by changing the deadline to complete repairs, demolition, and or removal from July 28th, 2026 to October 26, 2026. Got a motion by Mr. Brian Pledger and second by Mr. Harding. Seeing no lights, members vote your machines. Vote is 9-0. Motion passes. Item number 2. A motion to amend the condemnation order adopted on April 28, 2026 on the residential and accessory structures located at 308 Audemars Street, Houma, Louisiana, owned by Bertha E. Blake, by changing the deadline to complete repairs, demolition, and or removal from July 28, 2026 to October 26, 2026. Moved by Mr. Pledger, second by Mr. Harding. Seeing no lights. Members vote your machines. Vote is 9-0. Motion passes. Item number 3, a motion to amend the condemnation order adopted on January 13, 2026 on the residential and accessory structures located at 155 Yonge Boulevard, Houma, Louisiana, owned by C&R Pizzolata Trust, care of Christopher Young, by changing the deadline to complete repairs, demolition, and or removal from February 13, 2026 to October 26, 2026.
Second.
I had a motion by Mr. Babin, second by Mr. Harding. See no lights, members vote your machines. Vote is 9-0. Motion passes. Item number 4, consider the introduction of an ordinance authorizing an amendment to the Cooperative Endeavor Agreement between the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government and South Central Regional Affordable Community Housing Authority regarding the donation of 600 Westview Drive and 602 Westview Drive, Houma, Louisiana, for the purpose of constructing affordable housing for first-time home buyers, and to authorize the parish president to execute any and all documents necessary to effect said amendment, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, September 16, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Moved by Mr. Babin, second by Mr. Hamner. Have one light. Mr. Pledger?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Just a question there. As As relates to the amendment in the backup, I'm not sure, but just a question. Why are we moving it up to 120% of the average median income? Oh, there you go.
Kelly Varnado, Housing and Human Services Director. Mr. Pledger, Scratch has been having a hard time selling this house to a family at 80% of median income, not only because of the homeowner's insurance, but the cost of flood insurance. So I'd like to.
Yeah, I was wanting to verify that. But that's what I figured it was, because if you're at 80% and you go to 120, it's obviously trying to capture something. So, okay,
sir.
easy enough.
All
Thanks.
right, you're welcome.
All righty.
Yeah. All right, see no other lights? Members, vote your machines. Item number 5, motion passes 9-0. Item number 5, consider the introduction of an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances to establish a 25-mile-per-hour truck speed limit zone along the entirety of Crochettville Road and call a public hearing on said matter Wednesday, September 16, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Moved by Mr. Stu Trusclair and second by Mr. John Amity. Members, no lights, seeing no lights, members vote your machine. Motion passes 9-0. Item number 6, consider the introduction of an ordinance to amend section 28-1 definition relative to adding a definition for animal sales and service, C1, in certain portions of Chapter 28, Article 2, Section 28-48, commercial districts relative to adding sales and service, C1, use to the central business zoning district, and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, September 16, 2026 at 6:30 p.m.
Move.
Got a motion by Mr. Hamner, second by Mr. Trosclair. Seeing no, got a light. Mr. Harding?
Yes, Chris, could you come to the mic if you don't mind? I know we're going to public hearing with this, but when he explained this to me, you know what I mean, I actually opened up my eyes. So as a prelude to September 16, could you actually just give us a little
Yes.
highlight to what's happening?
So there was a business that existing in the C1 zoning that was a dog grooming business, and the owner retired. And one of the groomers wanted to stay downtown. She wanted to open up her own business. So when she had applied for the occupational license with the sales tax, it was sent to zoning, and we realized that dog grooming is not a use that's permitted in C1 zoning. That's the central business district, which is downtown. So when we looked at it a little deeper, we realized, well, that also means pet shops, pet stores, that kind of thing. So we looked at what is in C2 district under animal sales and services, and it's pet stores, it's dog grooming, but it's also veterinary clinics or kennels and overnight boarding. And we wanted to draw the line on some of that. So what we're proposing is animal sales and services limited. So it would just be for pet shops, retail pet stores and dog grooming.
Thank you.
See no further lights, members vote your machines. Motion passes 9-0. Need a motion to adjourn. Got a motion by Mr. Hamner and a second by Mr. Harding. Members vote your machines. Motion passes 9-0. All right. Who's next?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I accidentally hit, yeah. Yes, sir.
I will now call the meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee meeting to order with the, well, let me read this first. If you wish to address the council, please complete the public wishing to address the council form located at the end of the counter and give it to either the chairman or the council clerk prior to the beginning of the meeting. All comments must be addressed to the council as a whole. Addressing individual council members or staff is not allowed. Speakers should be courteous in their choice of words and actions, and comments shall be limited to the issue and cannot involve individuals and staff-related matters. All electronic devices used for communication should be silenced for the duration of the meeting. Thank you. I'll now call the meeting to order with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by myself. Heavenly Father, we come together this evening seeking your guidance and grace. Grant this committee wisdom as we review the resources entrusted to our parish and help us make decisions that serve our people with fairness, stewardship, and integrity. Bless our discussions, strengthen our unity, and keep our hearts focused on the common good of Terrebonne Parish. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Charlie, can you do the roll call, please?
Elisha. Mr. Pleasure,
That's what I
Mr.
meant.
Harding, Mr. Voisin, Mr. Amity, Mr. Champagne, Mr. Hamner,
Here.
Mr. Babin, Ms. Chauvin, Mr. Trusclair. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum present.
Thank you. All right. First order of business is a discussion and possible action on CDBG-DR Community Resilience Center priority list. And I do have some speaker cards, so I'll give those citizens the opportunity to speak first. The first up would be Wilfred Joseph. Yeah. We'll go by alphabetical order.
Good evening. My name is Wilfred Joseph. I live at 102 Octavia Street in Shreveport, Louisiana. I was here last Wednesday to talk about the Community Resilience Center. When I guess I didn't understand a lot about the community centers because I was thinking that we were supposed to put a plan together, that this center might be, I think I sent everybody an email about the plan that we had for the Resilience Center. It was a 10,000 square foot building that we had proposed. We had each yearly what we was going to add to it, how we was going to pay for it, what it cost, and I didn't know. I'm thinking you all was going to build the center. You know, I didn't know that you all was thinking about using the existing buildings because the community center we was talking about. One of the functions of it was going to be for storms, right? For storms. And it has to be, to me, in an area where it's accessible to more people in the North Terrebonne area in order to come to the center if we had a hurricane. I didn't think about the panels on, the solar panels on there. I didn't add that in there. But that's what we was thinking when we was thinking about doing that. And, you know, so the public can come and gather if there's a storm, power's out, people can gather there to be a place for gathering. You know, we also was going to put a daycare in there. You know, we have a lot of functions we're going to do with the kids. We want a community band, a community choir. We want to do a lot of training with them. We had with the program this summer, we got with Fletcher. We did some STEM stuff with the kids this summer. So we yes, you know. There was a lot of things we know that we need in our community that we was going to use this building to service for. And it was, you know, we put 4 communities on there, but we was going to service the whole North Terrebonne Parish, right? Nobody going to be exempt from what we're doing because we're nonprofit and we're here to help any and everybody we can with what we do, you know. So that's, you know, and, you know, I think one of the council members asked me that I had a plan last week. So I sent it all to you. Did you all get a chance to look at it? And what do you think about it? I don't know.
according to the rules, we don't comment on the,
I tried to present that plan.
we can do that? I'm sorry. Anybody have a comment? Wow, got corrected real fast.
You know, I don't know if that was something you all was willing to approve. I tried to get this plan over a year ago to the council, but they told me, well, the resilience centers are not being discussed now, you know, wait. So that's why you all didn't have it. That's why you all didn't have it. Because, you know, I thought it was going to have enough time for you all to look at it, examine it, and see what y'all think. And then if if y'all wanted to build it or what, I don't.
Mr., I can say this, that's what item one's all about tonight, to make those decisions.
So like I said, the building that we was talking about building, it was, I think it's $2,075,000 add the solar panels on there. But it was gonna be a total community center with, like I say, for weddings, receptions, whatever people need, we was gonna have it there for the public to use, for the public to use. And, like I think y'all seen our plan that we had, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. And so that's what we was proposing, but when y'all came to Shreveport, we talked about it, and there was some buildings available. Now, don't get me wrong, we're gonna take what you all give us, right? With certain conditions, because I'm just a spokesperson, right? I'm the vice president of the North Terrebonne Alliance. Mr. Owner is the president, so I'm the front person to speak. But I'm just one person with a group, right? The North Terrebonne Alliance. So I just want you all to think about that when you're all looking at it, And Carr, I've been talking to Carr about it, so that's what I had to say.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wilford. Anybody have any, all right, okay, I'm sorry. Carly's first.
Okay, Mr. Joseph, you actually sent the email to me. I sent it to everyone else.
Okay, I did
And
also. Okay.
realistically speaking, I'm trying we're trying to get everything together. We only have so much money.
Well, last week I think you all inherited another $4.5 million.
No, not technically it's available, but then how are we going to use it? Actually, we have to
Right.
decide. All right. So the deal is the fact that we're operating with X amount of dollars. Okay, in operating X amount of dollars, the format here is to be more cost effective than as possible. So it costs more to build a new building
Right.
while we have an existing building. So if we build a new building for $3 million and everything that goes for $3 million, and we already have something available, and we only have to use 1.1 or $1.2 million. Now, the agreements that's going to be made through the administration, the council have to accept that, and the stakeholders and the partners that we're going to actually have, how we lay that out and what you're able to do. There are some areas like there's another project where they still will be able to have weddings. They will still be able to actually function and have a number of things. If you look at what we prepared here, there's a number of things that was presented also last week. Aftercare, sports court, multipurpose field, community gardens, clinics for mental and physical health, EMS training. And there are a number of other things with partners such as Second Harvest, Gulf Coast, Council on Aging, Stark Corporation, Youth Build, so Rotary Club. So all that to be said is like, say for instance, when we go to the sheriff also use a lot of churches for places where we can help to distribute as a meeting place. So we have to look at the broader picture. And one thing that was very, very important that I like that you said, you're going to take what we give you.
Yeah,
And work with that. Yeah, but I'm not mad at you for asking for what you want.
Well, what I was, I thought it was government money that was given to communities to build a community center. I didn't, I didn't know it was going to be a overseer, sort of say. Other people involved that's going to be telling us what we can and cannot do. I don't understand with the building. The North Terrebonne Alliance going to have total control of this building when we get it.
It's the agreement that has to be made.
Okay.
And that's the first. I'm gonna stick my neck out there because I'm supporting this.
Right, amen, amen, thank you.
And the efforts. So therefore, if I'm supporting it now, I'm gonna support it further down the road
Okay,
also.
amen, all right.
Follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So,
No, I'm
so
good, I'm good.
I think the New Isles is actually in Mr. Amedee's district, but North Terrebonne, your alliance that y'all have that's up there, a lot of the members of that comes from my district.
Right,
Therefore,
right,
I'm
right.
supportive in what's happening in Mr. Amedee's district because it actually affects my district.
Right, right. Well,
So some of the money that's actually available, now not just for you and other folks that's actually looking and will find out what's going on, is only so much can be spread around. So we're being as cost effective as possible.
No, I understand that. I understand that. You know, and Mr. Amity, I know he's part of that, you know, area over there, and we're going to reach out to everybody in North Terrebonne Parish. That's our goal, is to help as many people, kids and elderly, and as we can. You know, we don't leave anybody out. Anybody, you know, we're going to try and publicize it. We're going to go to different places and ask people to send their children to come and see what we're doing. You know, we want to invite all the children. There's no, we ain't worried about the lines, right?
I'm good.
You know, we want to just get some kids and try and get them young and take them in a direction and keep them going to learning, education, you know, finances, to teach them about finances, about interest, compound interest, about stocks and dividends. We want to teach these children that so they can understand how life operates, you know. So that's our goal.
All right, Ms. Chauvin?
Okay, so from what I'm understanding, the resiliency centers, and Jason and Candace chime in, this is just a build out. So the operation would come from whomever you do the contract with, from my understanding, because I think that he needs to understand, like, on the other side of this, they may partner with some of the things that Mr. Harding just mentioned to keep it going, but we would not be funding any of the projects within the scope of what they're wanting to do.
No, I think in my plan I gave you how we was planning on raising the funds.
I want a clarification.
So, Ms. Chauvin, the CDBG DR funding for resilience centers, it depends on which center we are talking about. The centers that Terrebonne Parish government owns, like the Dumas and possibly Village East, depending on what's decided, those would be ones that the parish government could continue to run. And we would have a subrecipient agreement with a nonprofit in order to do the programs that the community has identified as needs. For the resilient centers that are owned already by nonprofits, it would be, we would give the money to do the improvements that those centers need in order for it to be considered a resilient center, and it would be their responsibility to do a subrecipient agreement with a nonprofit for the programs to be run through it. So if we don't own it, the subrecipient agreement is the parish and the nonprofit that own the facility. If we own it, it would be the parish and the subrecipient agreement with those that would run those programs.
Okay, so New Isle Community Resilience Center, this building is owned by South Central Planning.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you kind of give an overlay of how it would work for him in that area?
So the subrecipient agreement, so South Central Planning owns the New Isle building. That building is currently not even functioning because it doesn't have what it needs to be able to open and be available to the community. So the CDBG DR money would come in and we would build out some of the outside areas, a computer lab inside, have an area for, you know, different programs to be run and all of those things. We would have a subrecipient agreement between Terrebonne Parish government and South Central Planning for us to provide them with the funding in order to do the improvements. Once the improvement has been met, South Central Planning would then have an agreement with North Terrebonne Alliance or anyone else to actually run programs that would allow for that community center to be considered a resilient center in order to have the DR funding and national objective to be met.
Okay, that answers my question on that part, and I hope that brings clarification.
Well, yeah, it brings some clarification, but you know, if we if South Central Planning is gonna be the owner and we're gonna be the operator, that's what I'm hearing, that's what I'm hearing,
Possibility, yes.
possibility, so anything we do, we would have to get approval from South Central Planning, is that the?
So there will probably be some approvals required by South Central Planning as well as Terrebonne Parish government. I'm sure we will put something in place with our subrecipient agreement with South Central Planning, like, hey, we are expecting this to be a resilient center and XYZ happening. But yeah, there will be some oversight as far as programs and who is doing what.
Because that's why I said at first we was trying to get some of this money to build a building where we the oversight,
Well,
right? We
Yeah.
don't have to go and
and as Mr. Harding said, there's only so much money to go around, and building a building is going to take a lot of money to do that. And there are a number of resiliency centers that they're looking at. But I just wanted to make sure that I understood that correctly, where we understand what the parish owns and what the parish doesn't, and how this will work with them. So the agreement is with South Central Planning. South Central Planning will then have an agreement with whichever group takes over. All right, thank you. That's
so let me ask you, so the government money, the CBGD money that's coming down here, South Central Planning is gonna benefit from the money, and we just gonna be like, I don't know what word to use, yeah, like, you know what I mean? I mean, I thought the money was to build buildings that the community can run. And if we gotta go to South Central Planning, I mean, it's like, we're already under another umbrella where people telling us what we can and can't do. We're trying to get out of that umbrella and get our own building for the community so we can implement the plans that we wanted. And I thought with the $117 million that there was enough money to build these centers, but I didn't, you know, like I say, it's been changing as the years, because I've been talking to y'all since 2023 for sure.
So I'll tell you what was recognized here, what we looked at. That doesn't mean that things can't change, as we all know. It says $1.1 million could be allocated for new aisles. Is this, like, if it plays out this way, are you saying that this is not something that
Well,
you want?
I have to talk to the alliance, right? I'm just one member.
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
These questions all need to be asked. I had to go into my own area, and I had to sit down and talk with the board. So I get it. I understand. I just want to be clear on it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, that's it.
All right, thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Candace, did you have something else to say? Okay, Mr. Trusclair.
Yeah, I got a question. If you go down the agenda tonight, it kind of looks like we're going to be voting on these resiliency centers tonight. And if that's the case, I mean, how can we even put it on the agenda if we don't have the plan out how it's going to interact with the different organizations?
So, Mr. Trusclair, what this agenda item specifically is we need to know where the council sees the priorities for resilient centers. It could be based on what the presentation was given. It could be based on, hey, we think it needs to be in, District 8, but maybe not Ward 7, all of those things. We need to know what the priority is. And then what will happen with the later agenda item is where we're allocating all of the unobligated funding that we have. And then that'll allow us to start the application process on those resilient centers as they are prioritized by the council. So it'll allow us to know what is going on. We have already done some of the groundwork as far as LMI areas, beneficiaries, and all of that for these applications. But once we know what funding is available and what the priorities are and how we think they will fit, we will continue to have conversations with the third parties for these programs and running everything. As you are aware, any subrecipient agreement that is done still has to come to the council for approval for it to be signed, and that process will start some of that. That does not have to be done until the application for the resilient centers are actually submitted to the state.
Okay, so I guess my next question would be, Mr. Joseph's his proposal, I saw what he sent to us this week, and it's my understanding, I may be wrong, but my understanding was that was sent to the parish roughly a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago. And
So
so my question is, was this project ever even considered on this DR money?
So
I never
I'll-
seen it come up anywhere in there.
I will let Ms. Haley with Wagner and Ball, the consultants that met with the communities and did the stakeholder meetings, to explain where they fell in with this conversation.
Could I ask the committee's indulgence for a second here before we get too deep into discussions? We have 2 other speaker cards, and before we get too deep into the discussions,
So we're addressing Mr.
well, if
Joseph's
yeah,
concerns right now.
but that's what I'm saying.
I don't know
Let's
where those
finish.
speaker cards are going, maybe
Yeah.
somewhere else.
They all on resilience, but
But not Mr. Joseph.
well, we'll continue with Mr. Joseph, but yeah, I just want y'all to know that we have 2 other speaker cards. Did you can come up.
Good evening, Haley Blakeman with Wagner and Ball, Moffitt and Nickel. Here is a resource, so don't feel bad about asking questions. I'll stay as late as you want after the speaker cards are done, so we can always come back. Yes, we absolutely talked to this group. They sent us their business plan early on, right after the community meeting, the North Terrebonne Alliance, and they changed their name since we talked with them, so that's why their name wasn't in the packet. It was the Tri-Community a group, and so that's why it's changed in this packet. It's the same group it's always been. All of those things that they gave us at that public meeting are in New Isle. They all voted very much. They were looking for a spot, realized that New Isle was in the area because we'd already done the needs assessment, identified all the available buildings and spaces in that area. And so they were very much excited. South Central is very excited to work with this group. They also have other buildings on their campus, their property, that they can expand some of those services that don't fit in that building, like a daycare center. So I'll let the other people talk, but I'm happy to come back and answer.
Hold up. My question, I guess, would be so South Central always owned that building from the beginning of the process, or they bought it since we started this?
Yes, it's a part of the New Isle redevelopment.
Okay, thank you.
And so there are some qualifiers with their agreement with the New Isle redevelopment that, they have to meet some of those services to the community that lives there as well.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for her in reference
Okay,
to
Mr. Harding has a question for you as well.
So it brings about the
sorry.
concern because
There you go.
it brings about the concern, and I'm pretty sure it's the concern that Mr. Joseph is trying to present here. Even though we're looking at dollars and cents.
Sure.
See, Mr. Joseph is in a position where I not only just see South Central planning with this, but I see South Central planning in other areas also.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call it a monopoly, but I know they got their hands in it, okay, throughout. Now, the thing I would ask you, because I was going to ask Candace this, is the fact that suppose South Central planning wants to pull the rug from under these people's feet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what type of agreement we would actually have to prevent that?
So, and Candace, you can speak up and correct me if this is incorrect, but what we've talked about so far is there's a requirement for 5 years of a resilience center, and that would be outlined exactly what that is, what the resilience center can and cannot do, and that's because of the grant. But it's a pretty broad set of services, which all of those fit within it. But that would be outlined at the beginning. And so your agreement with the owner would be that this is operated for 5 years. And that satisfies your OCD and federal requirements. And so that's in there. After 5 years, everybody's they fulfilled their requirements. And so then it's kind of up to them to keep working with the community and the operators.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Candace?
So, just to elaborate a little bit, I do think that the 5 years is a number that we all been talking about. I do think that the parish would want it to last longer than 5 years. So I think
I
our
would too.
agreement would be continuing it. There would be some stipulations in there of who's running not stipulations, but some agreements of who's running the programs, who can approve what and stuff. You know, the hope is the whole purpose of these community centers, resilient centers, is for the community. And of course, we're just such an unlimited funding that we can't just buy or build brand new community centers in every community. So we were looking for areas that already had a building that could be utilized for these purposes. So those agreements are everything that can be ironed out. The 5-year national objective is what we need to meet for the financial responsibility, but I think the parish and administration as a whole would want this to continue as a resilient center long before that 5 year, or long after that 5 years is met.
Well, which brings to the point of the whole name is the fact that a resiliency center, and the resiliency center is actually during times of emergency. It could be tornadoes, it could be hurricanes, it could be high waters, it could be, whatever. So that's the primary purpose of this. So the agreement that all the sub-recipients that we would actually have, the agreements that we actually have, such as the people out in this particular area with New House, I would wish that it would go longer than the 5 years.
Yes,
That's what I'm trying to look at right there. I guess where I come from, they don't want to feel played. You follow me? Because, if the money is due, like Mr. Joseph has said, it's due for the community, and it came through that particular process. But then after 5 years, it's all done and said. And so we want to be careful, not just you guys, but we that are up here, because I think it brings us back to the point of Mr. Trustclair. We're going to be voting on something, and we haven't ironed out everything. And I don't want to put the cart before the horse, whereas we still have time. And once these things are approved, the list, which you're talking about, once this list is approved, then we can work those things out. That's where we are. We're not going to be in any problem with OCD and anything like that. We're not going to run into October 15th deadline or anything like that. Once they're approved, and the order that they'll be approved, if we approve them in a particular order, that's when we can go to work on the agreements. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. So the purpose of this agenda item is to give us the priority. Once we know what funding is going to be available for Community Resilience Center project, we will start on the application to submit them to OCD based on that priority list, and all of those details will be ironed out as we work through that process.
And I'm being very, detailed, because there's another person that's involved and the other people that's involved with this, and we have to really iron this out. I think Ms. Chauvin, she had some questions, and she had some questions for Mr. Joseph, but then she had some questions that she asked Mr. Joseph that she needed the answers to. So going forward, I think we should do our due diligence. Thank you.
I do have 3 other councilmen that want to speak. Do y'all want to speak now, or do y'all want to hear the, all right, I'm going to call on Kevin Champagne now.
All right, so I just need clarification, I guess, because for this whole process. So we're prioritizing how we want to spend the money on resiliency centers right now. But the next item, it may be, I think we should put the other agenda item before this one, because I want to know how all the money's being spent, and then I could decide how much should be spent on resiliency centers, and maybe we're spending less on resiliency centers and more on something else. And so we're prioritizing, even though there may be other things we want to use this money for. Yeah, and I think we need to discuss all these things now before, and then I don't know. It's kind of hard. We should be discussing this here, because we can't discuss it outside of here.
So
Let me just ask Mr. Champagne, would you like to make a motion to take the 3 items in tandem? You can do that.
Whatever y'all think is best, but we need to have discussions and all this back and forth about point blank, what do we think we need? How much money do we have to spend, and where do we want to spend it?
So one thing I will say, Mr. Hamner, if you allow me, so these resilience centers do not end when we don't have any more money. So the priority of them, no matter if you tell me, whatever you tell me today, is the priority. Whatever's decided as the CDBG DR funding that's going to go to that, if I can get 1 through 3 done, we're going to start looking for other funding for 4 through 6. Right. So the priority of it is where that falls into play. It has always been, I think, the practice of Terrebonne Parish Council and council staff that all discussion items are at the beginning of an agenda and then resolutions and stuff are at the bottom. So that's unfortunately how it is laid out, just because that's how it's been done. But I do understand you want to know what funding is going to be available for us to be able to determine what the priority is. But I want to remind everybody that the priorities don't end when the DR money is run out. We're going to continue to kind of work through that.
And that's not my point. My point was, what if we think of a project in some other, one of the other things is more important than a resiliency center?
So that's where the last agenda item would come into play. And if we don't add any more money to the Resilience Center, based on what the priority is on this agenda item, is what we put in the application
So you're just asking us to rate 1 to 5?
How do you want me to put it in as an application? How do you want me to focus on it in order to get it done?
What if we say all 5 are equal and you could only spend 500 on each, or something to that amount? I think it's the bigger picture for me of where the money goes.
So
and not just this one item.
Yes, sir. The presentation that was given by the consultants, showed what is felt would be the biggest community impact based on what is needed and available. If there is a priority of all 5, but we're only doing $100,000 to each, well, then we'll adjust those needs in that community to be able to fit what is funded for those projects.
Right. Thank you.
Mr. Pledger? No. Oh, wait, excuse me, Ms. Chauvin, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Can this money be reallocated to something else on the project list?
I guess I just need to keep my light on.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, it can.
Okay.
So this application has not been submitted to OCD.
Okay.
It has been kind of earmarked for the funding because they were the ones that asked us to put it into 2 different applications.
Right.
So yes, ma'am.
Okay. Secondly, just so everybody knows, this is on our Wednesday agenda. So if we only discuss tonight and make decisions on Wednesday, because we need some time to process, digest, and come up with a plan that makes us feel comfortable. I just want you to know it is on the Wednesday agenda. The second part of this is, when you talked about other funding for the other ones. I mean, I know that we all have projects in our district that are not in this part of it. If you're finding other funding for that, my worry is this, is like we're putting more buildings, we're putting more things, but we have projects in our districts right now that need funding. And I'm not talking about this per se, but what I'm looking at is, so if we add a new building, let's say South Central Planning's building to this part of it, so they will be responsible for all maintenance to the building at all times, like we will never have to put another penny back into it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that would be that part. My next question would be, did Mr. Joseph, when he was having this conversation, or when y'all were meeting, was he explained that South Central Planning owns the building in New Isles, and this is the place that we're looking at, and this is what will entail? Was he explained all of that in the clarifying way that we were just explaining, or Candace was just explaining?
So when we spoke, it was back at the public meetings, and so those were in, I believe, February, and it was a public meeting, so it was a big group of people. So we were exploring lots of different buildings, and part of what the input we were gathering from the public was which buildings make sense, what would be a good center, where do people go already, are there people who are already providing services that we could expand on? And so those were the kind of conversations that we were having. It wasn't who owned what. South Central was there that night, They were at the meeting as well. And so, no, we haven't had specific conversations
so-
about who owns what. We
So
haven't
that
been
was
that
never
far.
explained. Okay,
We haven't been that far.
all right, okay. So you said that, Candace, you said that there would be a 5-year contract. Is it a possibility to go longer?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
So that can be looked at and
Yeah.
that can be discussed on
It's just
on
the 5-year is that requirement
I
for
know.
us to not
I
have to
got you.
return any money back to the state. That's my biggest concern. But it can
I got you.
absolutely be longer.
Okay, all right. That tells my question.
Stay green, Ms. Malden. Mr. Pledger.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Couple questions that I have in regards to the funding. Where right now it seems that we have a funding issue. You know, as far as getting it, you know, you'd agree, we got a funding issue, but just make sure that everybody's aware. We didn't have a funding issue when we did the other 27 projects. Just make sure we digest that for a second. Second thing is with Mr. Joseph, South Central Planning owns that building. Will South Central Planning charge him rent or anything to be in that building?
I don't know the details of that yet. I've talked to both. South Central Planning is delighted to work with them. They're delighted to work with another operator, but I don't know the details of how that will work. We haven't
Yeah.
gotten to that point yet.
I'm a property owner. I'm always encouraged to work with people too. Can they charge rent for them to be in that building is the question.
They can charge rent. I would think for that first 5 years, we would be very strongly encouraging them to not charge rent.
But they can. It's up to them.
Well, no, it's up to the parish when we approve whatever
Okay.
agreement is
All right.
done.
I would suggest that they're not charged rent if they're to go in that building. Let's put that out there because that'll be a cost savings for them too as well. For the 10 years, since we're looking to go past 5 years, I'd say that there's no fees associated with them going into that building for 10 years, whatever it is. My next question or my next comment is when we say DR funds, that's not the end all be all when it comes to the resiliency centers because we'll look for other monies. You know, we'll actively look for other funding. Well, I just want everybody to be aware when it comes to the Village East project, that's what we were told back when that was being developed before. If we don't have the funding now, we'll look for it. And this is where we looked, I found it, just to let everybody know that. So that'll be coming here down the pipe in a second. But we have the funding now to do this, and I just want to make sure I get Village East out there. But thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Harding.
And with that being said, Mr. Pledger, Ms. Malden, on this MAGUP, you mentioned 5 projects, but then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items here. So when you're saying 5 projects for us to actually make a decision on, or the possibility of 5 projects to make a decision on and the priority of this and how we prioritizing, are you considering the fact that we're looking at alternative 1 and alternative 2, and just to make that?
Yes, sir. So the presentation that was given, there was 4 resilience centers that were listed. Then we had the alternative 1 Village East Pavilion, alternative 2 Village East Community Resilience Center. So when I say 5, you know, do we include alt 1, alt 2, and what priority are those? So yes, sir.
Which brings us to perhaps, in my opinion, to Mr. Champagne, is the fact that, so now, even with Mr. Joseph's perception that we have additional monies, perhaps around $4.5 million, you know what I mean, to be added on to what we actually have here. So we would be in a position to, like Mr. Champagne is saying, to make a decision on X amount of dollars, when then we may have more money available, and then it may change the priority list.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just a point to be made, that's all.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Trosclair.
Yes, thank you. You mentioned that during the initial meetings and community meetings and other buildings, was some of those buildings specific to what Mr. Joseph's project was looking at? Or did y'all just look at the ones that in and out?
We looked at a lot of buildings in the area, so we presented all of those at the first public meeting. So that was the presentation that we gave to y'all and to the public, is these are all of the assets and the providers that are already in the area. And then from that, and we met with a lot of you, actually. Kim, I think you gave us the biggest list of places to look. And we did. We went and we drove around. We looked at every single one of the buildings that any of you gave us to make sure, whether they would work, they wouldn't work, what the rooms were like based on the feedback that we got. So we looked at an awful lot of buildings. In that area, the closest thing was further down by the library. There were a few buildings there, but there really weren't existing buildings that were already there.
Okay.
And the direction that we got from all of the council members that we met with was, please use existing buildings so we can stretch this further.
Makes sense. And then my next question is Candace. So none of the stuff has been submitted to OCD yet
No, sir.
for final approval?
For the implementation of the Resilience Center infrastructure, correct. None has been submitted.
Okay, it's my understanding that there was a meeting this week with OCD, and there was some discussion about what could be used and couldn't be used in some of these centers, and it came up in discussion several times over here in our meetings about kitchen use not being able to be used, and if I got my information correctly from that meeting, OCD said that it definitely could be.
So yes, sir, I'm gonna give a little bit of the answer and then I'll ask CSRS if they can make sure that my answer is what was from that meeting. We had a meeting on Friday. So kitchens can be used as a resilience center because they are part of the mission of what a resilience center is. So we talked about it last meeting. There was some repairs and improvements to some kitchens in some of the resilient centers that were brought up. So that answer is, it's not causing it to not be eligible as a resilient center because of those kitchens.
Well, didn't we, as an administration, tell the Finding Our Roots Museum that they couldn't use the kitchen to sustain their operations?
So it was because the kitchen and the Airbnb in that building was not going to go towards the mission of a museum. So there's just two different clarifications, and I'll let CSRS come up and explain some of that more.
Well, I think Candace pretty much nailed it. But that's correct. So the mission of the museum is a museum. The idea was that she was going to use the Airbnb and the kitchen as a catering kitchen for income. And that flies in the face of...
Did OCD directly state that at your meeting?
It's program income, yes, sir. So program income has to go back to the state, which then has to go back to the feds. So we try to avoid that at all costs.
Okay.
Whereas this kitchen is serving the community, which is the point of community centers and resilience centers.
So if the funds that they generated couldn't go back into their operating funds, OCD's directed they could not put that, if they sold lunches or whatever at their kitchen, OCD stated that they could not take that fund and direct it back to their operating funds.
No, sir, it does not support the mission of a museum.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Pledger?
Okay, just, ma'am, if you can just clear me up to make sure that I understand correctly. So program funds for a museum that has a coffee shop or anything like that, that's not program income, such as with the rental of a community center being rented by somebody in the public for a wedding reception or something like that. That's program income. And from what I heard, they said that can go back into the facility, correct?
Yes, sir.
So likewise with the museum having a coffee shop or something like that in it, I mean, that would be program income as well, right? But it would be different because it's a museum?
Well, we're getting into, very specific, so I'm going to try and answer that the best that I can. And Stacy Bonifants is here, who is our technical expert on this, so she might be able to answer this better than I can.
Okay.
So Stacy,
I mean, I think it's really just a play on, I mean, the description, Miss Margie or the Finding Our Roots saying that they were going to use the kitchen for whatever catering and the apartment set up as an Airbnb. That's where us as a parish, we should have did a better job in, in helping her understand that, well, let's repurpose it for something else. That's a clear, indicator. That's what we could have done in that situation, but it's neither here nor there now. But go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, Stacy Bonifants, and I think part of the answer on this is not just program income and what is the definition of program income. It's also the purpose for which you put your CDBG money. So the CDBG money to buy a large building on behalf of the Finding Our Roots Museum, in that case, that was buying a building for a museum. Your purpose was to purchase a building to create a museum. Now, when you then, in essence, if it was going to be portions of that building that the parish purchased was going to be an Airbnb or a kitchen that was a catering kitchen, those uses are ineligible uses for taking federal funds and buying purposes to make profit. And so it was not as if it was just the museum doing fundraising or something for the purpose of funding the museum. It was the fact that you used federal dollars to purchase floor space that was for a purpose that was ineligible for CDBG. So it had a lot of nuance to it. Now, you always want things that you're putting CDBG money into to be sustainable. And so there are things that you can do for fundraising or you can do for operating expenses. But when you start exceeding $35,000, which anything under $35,000 gained in a year doesn't count as program income, but B, over and above operating expenses, that becomes profit, and that profit then has to go back to the state and to the federal government, unless they give you special permission to keep it to develop more. But there's several rules around anything that exceeds that amount of money, if that helps.
You went off.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I understand totally. And again, like I said, that was, we dropped the ball on that part, I feel, totally, because, we did have funding. If someone tells us what they're going to use it for and we're trying to help them out, we should have, kind of tell them, hey, look, you can't do that. And yet again, we still had, even if we couldn't use it for that, there's monies there to build out. We could have built it into meeting the requirements for that museum too as well. So just want to make sure that we're clear and we understand that portion of it. But outside of that, thanks, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
May I add a follow-up?
You sure can.
I know that there's been confusion about what is allowed in each of the two different resilience centers versus museum. In a resilience center, the main purpose is not actually after storms. That's the secondary purpose. The main purpose is throughout the year to support the community. So social functions like weddings and things, even like bingo night, as long as it's bringing people together, that is allowed. And that is funding that can be put back into the community center for resilience centers. Because I just want to make sure that it's separate and different from some of the other programming discussions we've had.
Okay. And also to make sure I clear everybody up, Kim, Ms. Chauvin, you alluded to possibly, being able to stew on this or chew on it for a few days and we can come back Wednesday because of the agenda item. Mr. Champagne, he was alluding to the fact that it's a lot of information. What do we have to make the decisions on and things like that? I just want everybody to make sure that we don't lose it and have it at the forefront that even though they're suggesting we put, $1 million, $2 million at New Isle or these other places, anything that's here, we make the decision on where it goes. If we want to take that $1 million and put it somewhere else, and award that to North Terrebonne Alliance, those guys, we can do that. We can clearly do that. We don't have to go by, this is just a recommendation here, what the consultants have been doing all this hard work on for us. And it's not a new project at that point. It's already been approved as the Resiliency Center, so it would fall under that guideline. Please clear me up if I'm wrong in any of this. By being a Resiliency Center, we just have to pick a spot and do it because it's already approved through OCD. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Just to clear up one thing, Mr. Pledger, yes, it is part of a project. It was part of a recovery proposal that we submitted. We still have to make sure that if it's not one of the areas that have already been identified, we still have to go through the process to make sure it meets the LMI beneficiary and all of that. So it's not, we still have to do all of that. What the areas that they have suggested in the plan have already done all of that testing. So it would take us just a little bit longer to get some of that done. I just wanted to make that clear. But it can, you are right that we can do a different location if the council so decides.
Ms. Chauvin.
Okay, one other question. Okay, so I did not hear back from Ward 7 in Chauvin, and so I'm wondering what other places in that vicinity that could help Montague and Chauvin with the center. What other buildings were looked at?
We just looked up this today, and I think there are maybe 10 or so that we looked at in the area. There was the old school that is there that I think has damage.
Which one? Because we have a lot of schools that we don't utilize anymore.
I know. Well, we've looked at all of your schools that are out of commission. I know there's the Montague school is down there. We looked at that one. We looked at some of them that had roof damage. There's a big building that you told us about, Ms. Chauvin, that's nearby there. Cash building. La Cash?
That's gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
We looked at that before it was gone.
Okay.
I mean, we learned about Marty J's. We know that there's a new gym going in at the rec center. We heard a lot from the community that lives down there that's a little too far for their daily needs, that they want it to happen, they're excited about it, but that it was really far for people to come over and up.
Okay. Can this be utilized with, say, a rec district building a gym?
Yes, and we did talk with the rec district, and I think they needed 7 to 10 million match for that, which we did not have.
Well, Jason, you need to find that. But anyway, I'm just kind of wondering. I would
Yes.
like that list of buildings. So that
We have
can,
that list. I was going to suggest. Would you like for us to email it to you tomorrow?
Yeah, just as soon as possible because I know
Absolutely.
that we're going to have to make some decisions. But thank you.
I will call on Mr. John Reeves next. When two speakers with the lights yielded to him. Mr. Reeves.
Thank you. My name is John Reeves. I am currently the commander of the VFW 4752 here in Houma and the senior vice commander of American Legion, Post 31 here in Houma. We've been working with the parish for the past few years trying to put the American Legion post back on its feet over at 602 Legion Avenue. And it's a building that has been there for over 75 years. The Legion has been in this community for over 100 years, the VFW over 75, and this building will become a veteran center once we finalize all the repairs that need to be done since Ida. The parish has already spent over $1 million on the air conditioning system, the mold remediation, and the roofing of the building, but we have structural damage that still prevent us from occupying the building. I will put to you that the American Legion and the VFW have always provided resilient centers for this community since we've been here in this community. And if we get back in that building, we will continue to be a resilient center for this community, even if we're not designated as one. But I would like to add us as a potential resilience center. The parish already has the property. We already have the workers. We're continuing to reach out to our new veterans and get younger members in our organization. And it would be so much easier if we had a building to operate out of. The next phase, we'll see that we have 2/3 of the building open and operating again in a safe environment. Our kitchen will be fully operational and ADA compliant restrooms as part of that budget that we've been given by the parish. We're not asking for a lot more money. We just want to build a better building to support the community that we've supported for so long. Many of you probably know of someone who's had a wedding reception there or a baby shower. We want to continue to be able to provide that to the community. Our primary mission will be to support our veterans and their families, including our National Guard soldiers and their families when they're deployed, and our Coast Guard who are here with their families. So I humbly say that although we come late to the dance, our card is completely open, and we're ready to serve and ready to become a vital part of this community that we have been for the past 75 to 100 years, depending on the organization you look at. We're currently forming a group of veteran organizations, including the Marine Corps League, United Veterans, and disabled veterans, along with the VFW and American Legion, to have a nonprofit specifically for the building to maintain and run the building, where all veterans' voices are heard and all decisions on the building's operation are considered to support all veterans, no matter what their service, their branch, or what war they fought. But we'd like to be able to have that as a resource for the whole community. We have lovely pickleball courts right next door to us. We got a vacant lot that used to be the TADAC building right across the street from us. So we have room to support emergency services. After Ida, we had emergency services in our buildings, even though our building was damaged and considered unsafe. We still housed emergency service personnel there. They slept there, they worked out there, and they got the job done to help us recover from Ida. Let us be that piece of the community again. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Commander. By the way, my brother got married in 1975 and had a huge wedding reception there. It was great. The next speaker is Mr. Lee Schaefer.
Yeah, I'm Lee Schaffer, 2678 Highway 311 in Schriever. And I'm here as part of the current leadership and designated representative for the Veterans Center on Legion Avenue, 602 Legion Avenue. I first need to thank the council and the parish president, Jason Bergeron, and all the administration for all the work they've done for the Legion so far over the past couple of years. Well, since even before Hurricane Ida, we had a roof put on the facility. We had the HVAC replaced and the electrical that deals with the HVAC replaced. The next phase of the project is to put in a full kitchen, bathrooms, one meeting area. A structural beam repair that we originally didn't plan for is fully designed and it's ready to go out for bid with money already allocated for it. This isn't a concept, it's an engineered, bid ready, and funded. This encouraging news for the project has been in the works for over 6 years now, and I want to thank the parish for everything they've done so far. There are a few things that are lacking, though. I want to be clear that the buildings matters beyond veterans programs. As John said, after hurricanes Gustav, Ike, and Ida, and probably every storm since the 60s, we've been there to support the parish as a resiliency center before we were even calling them resiliency centers. The building and the veterans have a documented track record on taking care of their community. It's not a dream, it's a reality. A fully renovated building means a working kitchen, ADA compliant bathrooms, offices, and storage areas that can actually receive and distribute staged pallets during a storm. It can also, during blue skies, it can house the VFW, the American Legion, Disabled American Veterans, South Louisiana Veterans Association, and their auxiliaries, and many other nonprofits that are interested in being part of the organization. And we have a grand hall that can be used for community centers, community events, conference, cafes, meetings, and everything else. During Gray Skies, it goes right back to being a distribution and a staging site to support veterans, their families, and the entire community at large. Our accountability, Post 31 currently holds a 501c19 status. We've also filed, as John mentioned, a 501c3 status with the IRS, which is pending. That will create a dedicated board of veterans and community members specifically responsible for administering the building, separate from the Legion's regular business. That means it gives you the needed funding, the funding agencies confidence that we'll professionally run the Veterans Community Center and the parish long after the renovations are done. So our ask is simple. Formally designate the Veterans Center as one of the parish's resiliency centers and include the remaining renovation scope. That might include a functioning kitchen, ADA bathrooms, meeting areas, and a storage area that can provide staging for food and supplies. As eligible to be funded under the CBDG disaster recovery projects. This is a low-risk, ready-to-go project that already have a proven role in the community during disasters. If there are any questions, I don't mind answering, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, I think we do have a number of your questions are for Mr. Schaefer? No? No? All right. Well, I'm gonna go in order of the lights then. Mr. Amity?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Candace, put your light on. So, a couple of things I just want to repeat for clarity and make a statement. Unfortunately, the public doesn't always understand. Whenever you're dealing with government dollars, there's strings attached. So there's been a misconception that we're going out buying a lot of things and giving them out to organizations, and that's not how it works. There's very specific rules that come with the money that we have to follow, as well as any sub-recipient they have to follow as well. The other thing is that each use of the dollars has its own rules based on the mission, correct? Okay, so that's where we see some of the confusion on kitchens can, kitchens can't, this can, that can't, that can't, and so forth. There's a lot that we've been looking at this for a long time that I think Mr. Trosclair exposed. We don't know the fraction of it. But looking at the list, I know we had, Candace, a certain dollar amount in there for resiliency centers. Now we have this list of New Isle, which, by the way, Mr. Harding and my district split New Isle. It just so happens that building is 50 feet across the line into my district. That's why Mr. Harding and I work good together throughout the areas, because we have those situations. But we have New Isle, Dumas, Hope Extreme, Ward 7, and then we have the two on Village East. So with alternate 1, that 5.4, Candace, that's a total, or that's with adding?
Are you talking about the little pink highlight on the backup, the summary sheet? The 5.4 is the 900,000 for Alt 1. The blue highlight of the 8.4, which
adding money to what we already had?
That is
allocated?
No, sir. So this is the total that would be needed to do all of the projects through Alt 1, all of the projects in Alt 2. So we would have to add money.
So we'd be pulling money
the resilience
from something
centers.
else to put into there.
Yes, sir.
What was the original number that we had, that we were looking at?
1 second. We had put a total of 5.4 million in the phase 2 for the Community Resilience Center. Now we got to remember, not all of that can be used for the construction. So you probably have about 5 million or so that can be used for construction.
Yeah, and that was another thing too, is that we were trying to not do construction where we had buildings available, so we can do more of those. So if we were to do Alt 2, then we're going to take some of the monies perhaps in the canceled projects to use there. And then for the rest of the councils, concerning Mr. Champine's comment, I tend to agree with Mr. Pledger that we can make a decision on a priority list. Don't mean that's going to be the final end thing right now, or we could do a motion to table and come back to it and take it off the table later. I think item number 9 is where the rubber's going to meet the road with what we're going to do with whatever funding. So I think we just make a priority list and then come back and address it after if need be. Like Ms. Chauvin said, we've got the item on the agenda again for Wednesday if we need to do some more, but it's time to get this summed up and moving forward. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Candace.
Mr. Hardy?
Yeah, and I kind of agree. We're going down the road and we're running out of gas. And the list is here. I think we at a point is either we actually decide on the list and the recommendation that we have, or table it. That's the position I have here. But I want to ask a question to one of the consultants in reference to American Legion. I know we have been supplementing the American Legion and actually, helping them out in their recovery. And I'm a veteran, a Vietnam veteran, C. Harding, Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government.org. Send me something in the email, and I'll pass by that. But the point there is, I think they would have to understand that these structures are in LMI areas, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's where they would have a problem.
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't want them to leave without, at least realizing that much. Lee, it's good to see you, but then that's I wanted him to understand that.
I was actually just passing him a note. I hope I don't get in trouble.
Okay. All right, I just want to bring that point out. Okay.
I spoke with Mr. Lee this week, and it's an amazing building and really great services. When we started talking about this, we gave you all that big hub and spoke map and said there's not a shortage of need, but this grant can only cover certain things, right? But we wanted to catalog all of the need. So his is going to go in the back in those future recommendations. And what we want to do is make sure it's cataloged so when there is funding that will work for that's outside of the LMI or whatever, if it works with that funding, it's already in the plan. You don't have to do a planning effort again. You can just go directly to that project.
So we have an avenue of escape to assist them, then, right?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. So his will be in there. There's some other ones in there, but thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You want to go, Mr. Bergeron?
Yeah, I just want to speak specifically to the American Legion. That project, we were looking to do the whole building because of the repair work we have to do on the column. That's an unknown, so we're looking at doing a phased approach to finishing the building out. We're going to build out a funding sheet of what opportunities there are for phases and future funding, and really work to push that out to the community, our federal and state delegations, to try to look for additional funding to get that project finished.
Ms. Chauvin?
Okay. Candace, I'm going to ask you this. Do we need to know the set buildings before moving forward with this? Like, so in Chauvin, have Ward 7, it's not an option, okay? Before moving forward with this on this term of the 1.1 on that specific part of it, would we need to know like what building we're looking at and the LMI of it? So I have a question for her after.
I'll give you a little bit of an answer that I think, and then I'll let Haley jump in if I don't get it all correct. I do not think that we need to know the building whenever we get this priority list. I think the priority is the area. So if your district is the area and not Ward 7, but somewhere in that vicinity. But what we do need to do almost immediately after is identifying, if it's not going to be Ward 7, what that other building is. So that way we can go through. And they've probably already looked at most of, if not all of them, and have determined what was eligible or not eligible. So it may even be part of that discussion that happens,
right,
there. So ideally we would like to know the location in the building, but
Me
I don't
too.
think that, I don't think that that is really the priority. Our priority, and y'all have all hit the nail on the head with this, is we don't know what funding is there. We're trying to get all of this done as quickly as possible because of, deadlines and all of that. We do have it on Wednesday night's meeting, so we can kind of, wait until then. But we have to make some decisions soon. And the priority is just, once we know what the funding is, we'll start through that priority list.
I think my concern is that I'm looking to, you have Montague right there, with Mr. Trosclair, you have Chauvin right here, we have that connecting highway, and that we could utilize a building to help both of our communities when they're out of charging stations, whatever, or kids need tutoring, whatever that may be. So you've checked each of the 10 buildings that you described in that area. Have you checked the LMI? Does it meet the requirement? So when I'm gonna go and look at this, and I'm gonna get with Steve and look at this, and so we can look at something that could work together. So each one of those places have already been checked and meet that LMI requirement.
Yes, and I'm happy to sit with y'all and talk about other options. Let's just use Ward 7 as an example. If that's not the right spot and we need to look at something else, I would say don't discount that tonight, that it's not a good location. The exact building can move as long as it fits the requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Pledger?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to make sure that, and then maybe this might be for Candace, she can help us out. Or we're going to make it a requirement that all of these centers, buildings, whatever it is, whatever capacity they're going to be used, that, option number 2 is that it's going to be used as a place of refuge during major storms and stuff like that to help the parish, correct?
It has to.
It has
Yeah.
to.
Okay.
It's part of the
Grant
requirement.
requirement.
Part of the
Just
national
want to make sure I'm
objective.
clear on that.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be in writing, right?
Yes,
With
sir.
all right, cool.
It's got to have both of those components to meet your grant requirements.
Thanks.
I see no other lights. Does anybody have an action that they want to present, or do y'all want to go under discussion with number 2? Okay. Kim? No action, okay. Then we're going to move on to number 2, discussion and possible action with CDBG DR monies. Okay, Ms. Chauvin?
Okay, so I have a few questions. When we're looking at this sheet, and sorry, mine's written all over, but when we're looking at that sheet, that part right there, some of the questions that I had, and you were able to answer it, I was reading on the way back down here. Parts of this, and I see you have, like, you're asking for additional funding for certain things along the list. But can any of this money be used, because I have a lot of questions when it's going to come to the phase 3 of support the seafood. And a lot of it is that we're looking at spending 4.5 million now. If we allocate the 940, it would be 5.4. And when I'm looking at doing a safe harbor, one, it's a lot of money for just a few places that they can park, and then we may have to buy the I guess, like, the land that is on that part of it. I just wonder if this would be better spent dredging by Lucaya instead of doing something because you can't, there's no possible way, well, this would be my question. Let's say you have bigger boats and smaller boats, and the bigger boat slams into the smaller boat. Who's going to be responsible for all this? Because it would be a parish-owned part of it. How are we going to maintain it? My worry is always this. I look at the things that I know that I need in my district, and if I can't get funding for those things right now to fix things, what makes me think that we're going to be able to maintain a safe harbor for that specific thing? I looked at what the numbers that you gave me, which was 20,000. I think that's way on the low side as far as maintaining, because I know what it takes me to maintain my bulkheads, to maintain the clusters, and then we always have someone working on it. Also, there's the part of the insurance. Like, we haven't even looked at that part. So my worry is going to be, where is all this money going to come from? It's got to come from somewhere. Like, let's say it's built, and we're on to another budget. I have a hard time thinking that we're going to be able to maintain it if I can't maintain roads and I can't maintain bridges, and we're having a hard time doing some of the stuff that we got. Great ideas, but actually laying it out is a problem. So I'm just wondering if we could take some of this money and go in and start dredging like the bayous, like in Chauvin, where you have the conveyance channel coming on down, what we term as the old Kurt's car wash back in the day, which would probably show my age, but that going all the way down to the locks, which would help water flow, which would also get the junk out of the water, would get the silt, because we haven't had dredging. I don't know, has anybody knows when's the last time any of our bayous were dredged? And so I'm just kind of wondering, would this not better suit?
Yes, ma'am.
So where we wouldn't, it's a one and done.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm going to answer a few of your questions,
Okay.
and if I don't get all of them, we can have Chris Pulaski, who is more of the Support the Seafood project than I am, and then dredging could be Noah. So as far as the funding, the Support the Seafood Phase 3 and the Community Resilience Center Phase 2 and unallocated funding, and the amount that the council voted last round of meetings from Finding Our Roots, all of that can be reallocated.
Okay.
What we have presented for the agenda item tonight, and we're discussing right now, is keeping the funding for Support the Seafood Phase 3 and the Community Resilience Phase 2, and adding the additional funding for it related to what the feasibility studies determined. But it can be reallocated, and it can be reallocated to one of those approved projects. When we start talking about the dredging, we will have to spend a little bit more time doing probably a scope modification. We have to identify which areas need the dredging, and does that area have the LMI beneficiary, and kind of start through all of that process. I don't know how the areas that we already have identified in the dredging were identified. I don't remember that, and that might be where Noah can help us a little bit, or even Chris Pulaski. But that funding can be allocated. Unfortunately, timing-wise, Support the Seafood, we were not able to get the consultants that did that feasibility study to do the presentation on Wednesday like we had wanted to. So they will be here in 2 weeks to present to you the findings. I believe that we will have a draft of that to you guys way before that 2 weeks, but know that that is coming. So I will ask Chris if he can come up and kind of give you some more of those answers from the Support the Seafood, or Noah, to answer some of those dredging questions.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Candace covered a lot of it. And the responses, I guess, in the email that you got today, I'd put those together based on the draft report that's going to be presented at the meeting on the 16th. And like Candace said, you guys are going to get a copy of that draft as far out in advance as we can. I think we have a meeting Thursday? Tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow.
But I'm looking at this, and the longer we wait, the more down the line, the less time we have to do it.
Yeah.
I would Look, when I look at maybe you can have 32 boats, because I kind of went on the scope of the linear feet that she gave me, and let's say it's all big boats or what have you. Let's say it's some small boats. I don't know how you're going to house bigger and smaller at the same time. Look, the way we do it is my bigger boats on one side and the smaller boats come in to the other side of it. I just don't know how you're going to afford the insurance. I don't know where all this money is going to come from after the fact. That's going to have to be taxpayer money funding that kind of stuff. I think that we have enough docking space at a lot of the processing docks and different things that people are allowed to, under the scope of it's an emergency, when you have tropical storms or bad weather of that nature. And we've had a lot of people that have tied on to ours. I just don't know how you're going to maintain it if 3 cluster piling gets pulled out, because you're not just throwing a few dollars at that. In government, it's always times 10. It's always times 10. I know what it costs me, but I know in government it's going to cost a whole lot more. So I'm just looking at a better utilization where we would have, dredging of our bayous would do so much more for the people who live in my area than the safe harbor part of it. And that's just me looking at that part of looking at dollars to what it provides on that part of it. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at on that.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't gotten into the detailed design of those
And that's a problem.
facilities. That would be part of the implementation of the Phase 3. And yeah, I mean, what we have right now are just numbers based on vessels being in the range of, what was it, 30 feet to 100 foot.
Right.
You got, I think one site was 2,300 linear feet. The other one was almost 1,000. So you're looking at probably, what did they say? I think between 50 and 75 vessels.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we heard at the public meetings.
No, I
You were there,
listened.
so
No,
yeah, the
I
public
did.
was
I
talking
listened.
about safe harbor sites. But to answer your question about, LMI, I mean, yeah, I don't know the maps well enough off the top of my head to know that.
I think any
Just
one
as the
Chauvin.
area where we're putting this safe harbor proposed in the Montague area, obviously it serves an LMI benefit.
Okay.
So, that might be an area to look at dredging, but I mean, I'm not saying that Montague site needs it, but what I'm saying is that the LMI, we've got LMI areas in the southern portions of the parish that are, obviously because we're funding projects.
So this would
down
be
there.
my concern also. We had a number of boats that flipped last time. Those guys got up and there's a few of them that got up and picked up their own boats. What happens in those instances? Because now you have a whole bunch of boats, so I guess I'm just looking at this of things that have happened in the past. And my discussion just comes in on, I wanted to know if I could reallocate. OCD would not propose that we need to have a study on where to dredge. I mean, if our bayous haven't been dredged in 20 years, it's common sense it
Well,
needs to be dredged.
We do have some of our Activate the Bayou DR projects are
Mhm.
just that, dredging, and we did have to prove that
So
it was needed.
OCD requires you because does it require
It's
you?
not requiring a study or a plan to be done, but to identify the areas that it was needed was what was needed to be done.
Tell you what, I'll take you down to buy in my troll boat, and you'll
not
get
denying
stuck
it.
in some places.
But I'll take you up on that. I'll do that.
Let's go.
That'll be fun.
I'll get you stuck in the bayou. It's bad. It's really bad. It's much needed. It's much needed on that part. So, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and let some of the other guys go ahead and throw their 2 cents in, and see what they want to say. But I'm just looking at what we're getting and how many times we're going to use this compared to getting the bayou dredged and being for everyone who lives in the bayou area. All right,
ahead.
thank you.
Go ahead, Noah.
Thank you, sir. So I could tell you for the two dredging projects that we currently have on the books for CDBG, which is Upper Grand Caillou and Upper Bay de Large, the LMI benefit was largely for flood mitigation because both of those sections are within a drainage alignment that are silted in, heavily vegetated, and needed to be cleaned out. And that was the benefit we were able to prove for LMI for those particular ones. So if we were going to look at another dredging project, we'd have to determine what the goal is. Is the goal to allow for larger vessels to pass or whatever it may be, and from there, decide what the LMI benefit is. But that's how we determine the two current ones that we have, was mainly flood protection or mitigation.
So you have to, so when we're talking about flood protection and mitigation, that is one of the national objectives. So that's part of it too. So does it meet a LMI or does it meet one of the national objectives of the DR money?
So we just have to do one or the other, LMI or?
No,
or
it
you have
always has to be
both?
LMI, but it also has to meet one of those national objectives.
Okay. I mean, I don't see how we wouldn't meet it on that part when we're talking about dredging it, or I mean, are we alluding to that it would not meet those
No, well,
requirements?
one, you got to figure out what the purpose is. If it's going to be flood protection or mitigation, that's your purpose. And then you got to determine what the cost of that's going to be. So your starting point and your ending point. I can tell you for Upper Bay de Large and Upper Grand Caillou, doing the whole bayou is not financially feasible because it's a long stretch. So from there, we got to do a study report with whoever we decide to engage and figure out what's the most practical way to spend that money. Because I mean, I'm not sure how much money would be reallocated, but it won't be enough to do a full-scale dredge of a long stretch for, a large vessel passage or whatever it may be. But if you're looking to take a couple feet off of a bayou for a certain section, that's obviously going to be a lot more feasible than a full-scale dredge down Little Caillou.
Okay, so you're saying for a smaller portion of it, I mean,
I'm saying if we have $3 million, Kim, then that's not going to go very, very far, or $4 million or $5 million. It's not going to go extremely far to do a full-scale dredge. 'Cause I could tell you the ones that we're doing for the other two are not a long stretch. I mean, the longest is 6 miles, and we're talking about removing maybe like a foot or two of material for drainage purposes, mainly.
for me, I just can't see I mean, I get it, the money's coming down, but we're gonna spend it haphazardly on something that we cannot maintain in the future. This is bugging me to no end, that we need to be, I think, more responsible about how we're gonna be able to maintain things. That's the worry for me. I don't think that we've thought about the insurance part of it. Look, USH&L is no joke. And I would have thought that would have been one of the ones that we looked at the beginning to even see if we could afford that on that part of it.
So if you don't mind, Kim, so, you look at the two things that were discussed in the support to seafood study phase was a safe harbor and cold storage. So no different than the report comes back from the consultants on what resiliency centers they want. Their report's coming back saying the community wants safe harbor. We evaluated a few different areas, settled on 2, but if for whatever reason there was a thought that we needed cold storage more than we needed safe harbor, I don't know, and maybe the consultants and or Candace can elaborate on, if we get a study back that says we need to do this and don't do that, what happens to the funding as it relates to support the seafood, right? And going to say, if you're gonna dredge, is that dredging going to benefit the seafood industry? And then how does that factor into the LMI and all the national stuff? So I'm just asking that question from.
I would say in my area, it's going to improve my community as a whole, whether it's seafood industry or not, on that part of it. I understand like this is support the seafood, but I also have people who don't work in the seafood industry that live in Chauvin that, we're looking at some of these and we have 1.5 million that's going to the seafood industry in grants on that part of it. Like I said, I'm just looking on the back end of this and having this and having money on the backside is the worry. Just because we build it doesn't mean we can maintain it. as per, and I mean, look, I read a lot of stuff that's going on. We're looking at buildings that we haven't even fixed from Hurricane Ida. We're still waiting on FEMA money. So it just makes me a little antsy in doing that. And that's kind of where I'm at with that part of it.
And consultancy, I guess Candace can elaborate, but I'll ask a question. We have a portion, which I'm not mistaken, is phase one, which is going to be for equipment and other supporting items in the seafood industry. I guess if the council chose, y'all could say, we're going to take all that funding. We're not going to do safe harbor. We're not going to do cold storage. We're going to put the rest of funding into that first phase. I don't know if there's been any issues as far as application and OCD, and maybe the consultants can help elaborate with that. But I think when you look at what we're talking about, where we talk about an area for resiliency centers, or we talk about what exactly we do to support the seafood industry, you know, they can tell us how much flexibility they have, but I think you could come back and say, we're gonna put it all into machinery and equipment or capital or whatever it may be, which is really the phase one. So I would love for some feedback.
So we're not even going to consider dredging.
Can I use part of your time? Would $5.44 million make a difference on that dredging project?
For Little Caillou or a different?
Yeah, everything Kim's talking about.
Yeah, Little Caillou.
A light. Oh, I'm sorry, Noah, you turned yourself off.
Look, there would be a difference. Anytime you clean a body, you're gonna make some sort of difference for sure. It's just a matter of determining how much of a difference it would be. Like, that's something we have to do some sort of study report on, some sort of survey to identify that. I couldn't tell you right now how much of a difference it would make, but it would make a difference, of course. You gotta define where you're gonna start, where you're gonna stop, and how much you wanna take out, and then look at the cost for that.
Okay.
All right. You got it.
Okay, so I believe the question was whether or not we could take all of the support the seafood.
Phase three.
Phase 3 and move it to the grants, phase 1. And yes.
Phase two.
No, phase 2 was a study.
You actually have 3. You have grants for the fishing industry.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you. I just have my numbers confused.
No, you're fine. And then you have a plan, which is going to be presented in 2 weeks. And then we've got the phase 3, which is the implementation of the plan, which the community that came to the public meetings all said resoundingly that they wanted safe harbors. We thought they were going to do cold storage, but it came back safe harbors.
Did we have identification as to where those people were from?
Yes, the consultants that did the plans, their name is Civics. They will be presenting that. They have all of the information of who signed in for those public meetings.
You had some that were not from here. They were from Lafourche. You had a few that were from here. It's not, and it was not like a ton of fishermen in there. There were a handful.
From
I was there.
From Terrebonne or
You had some from Terrebonne. You had, but it was just, no, you had I think they had one that was from Lafourche, and then we had about 5 or 6, maybe 10 people at the meeting because I was there.
Yeah, I don't.
And most of them from Sea Grant. You had a number of people from Sea Grant. You had a number of people that were consultants. You had a number of people that were from the parish, but we did not have like an overwhelming amount of commercial fishermen that were at the meeting. But it's like any meeting that we hold, to be honest with you, any public meeting, you don't have a whole bunch of people that always show up.
Well, I guess my concern would be if we built this safe harbor, you know, is it first come, first serve, or is it Terrebonne Parish first?
No.
Yeah, that would be, and I don't know that, and I'm not asking for that answer, but that would be a question that we'd have to find out.
Okay.
I think Mr. Amedee's
Hold up 1 second. I wanted to ask her if any of that money could be allocated to dredging.
So the answer is yes. You have budgets that are that are assigned at this point for Community Resilience Center Phase 2 and the Support the Seafood Phase 3. But everything else, yes, you can reallocate. You can say that you want to move $1 million dredging or to, let's say, Main Street improvements. I mean, that's, I think, the question on the table is that we need guidance from y'all, how you want to move the funds that you have remaining.
No, and I get it. Look, I appreciate all this because we have a lot of questions, and it's why I wanted to be able to
Sure.
ask questions, digest all of this, and for me to come back like Wednesday and have a plan, do something. But it's a lot. It's a lot, and we're last minute on a lot. I feel very uncomfortable. Like, this is so much information at the end of it, and like we're not even getting phase 3 of the seafood part of it not until the next meeting, which is 2 weeks away, and then we have to hurry up and make this decision. I just feel uncomfortable with that part of it, and I'm trying to look at this with a broader view and seeing what can and can't be done. And it's just, I wish that we would have had a lot more forthcoming, maybe to understand it better, because for me, maybe I should have done more homework. I don't know, but I feel like I'm at that level. I should have done more to understand it better.
Just to maybe give you a little bit of perspective, the original project allocation, project description for Activate the Bayou dredging listed 50 miles of bayous. And when the planners, the engineers came back and said, we can't possibly do 50 miles of bayou for dredging. We don't know how much we need to dredge. We don't have any information on how deep, how wide. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Noah, but it's about 3 miles now that we are financially able to do. So it is a very costly but highly beneficial activity. It just, to really have, I guess, to dredge 50 miles, I don't know how many millions that would, tens of millions to do that.
No, I get it. In government, everything costs exponentially more. But that was the joke of what I want to do. I know that for me, I just want to come back Wednesday. I want to be able to look at this and really make some decisions on that part, because I just feel like it's too much information.
It's 29 different projects, I understand.
Well, it seems like it's a couple of them, and then we're wanting to move money here and there, and I just want to make sure that I'm doing my due diligence on making good decisions with taxpayer money, because it's not free money. So, Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Amity, thanks for being patient.
That's all I am. So I agree with Kim. We don't need safe harbor. If we're going to do any of them, let's do the one on Falgo Canal. But because it hits the nav that can hit that for boats running. But Candace, the spreadsheet that you have here, you've got total funds per project, then you have additional funding with a new balance. So the total funds per project is where we are now on those projects. The additional funding is what we need to find money or allocate money to with money that's available, correct?
Yes, sir. So we were instructed after the last round of meetings to come back to the council with a recommendation of which projects could benefit from additional funding. So that is what's happening here. You'll notice, and it's included in all of the backup that was uploaded too. We are reallocating from the Finding Our Roots Museum as well as the unallocated funding that we had. Right. The two that we were focused on a lot recently, the Support the Seafood Phase 3 and the Community Resilience Center Phase 2, we are requesting additional funding based on the feasibility study. But again, those have not been actually applied for and approved for, so that funding is available to be moved as well.
All right, then over in the comments, you've got early stage of design, expect to need additional funding to complete.
That is for the Bayou Cane berm detention.
Yeah, that's one of them. The South Homa pump station's another one.
Yes, sir. So those are two that we have identified that need some additional funding just based on our knowledge and history with these types of projects.
On top of the additional monies we're looking at giving them.
No, sir. No. So I'm telling you, we're adding $350,000.
And that's gonna?
That is It can
to help
always
with
use
that.
more, but that will help with that. So
Okay.
I'm not saying that we need on top of that 350. We could benefit with more.
Yeah, well, that's what I took it to be, that was just an explanation of the 350. But then there was some confusion. And then going back to what Kim was talking about, if we decide to do something different with support the seafood, then we can, it's always our choice to make that money available with anything. We can cancel any of these others that haven't been
That have not been
voted on.
approved by the state. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just trying to get an understanding, because I'd definitely like to see the list get accomplished. I really would like to see the human and the annex building, the berm, of course, so we can protect a lot of those people from the flooding, and then the South Homa pump station. I think that benefits the whole northern part of the parish. And unfortunately, for the people in the south, it doesn't have a big benefit other than that if we slow down the water coming at them, draining from the north, then that helps keep them from flooding on the south until they can get theirs pumped out, and then we can slowly introduce ours into theirs, which a lot of ours is Thibodeau. So I think that that covers my questions. I know Kevin's going to cover some more when his light comes up, so thank you, Mr. Chair.
Do you want to make a motion on all of that, or not yet? Okay. Mr. Champagne? Oh. Did I call the wrong one? Oh, I'm sorry, don't know my difference between number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, and to come back on what you're saying, what I'm visualizing, once we get to number 9, I'm pretty sure it may be a motion coming up, but then we have to settle this. And Ms. Chauvin, I'm trying to find out, to support you, or to get an idea of where you are in reference to the money, because we've gotten to a point now that I think, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, there's only 2 projects that are really left that have to be approved. And how much money are we talking about, Candace?
So Support the Seafood Phase 3 has $4.5 million. Community Resilience Center Phase 2 has $5.4 million.
Which I thought it was about $10 million. Okay. Now, I think Mr. Amity was talking about the berm and the South Home and the pump station. When Ms. Chauvin, when you're saying support the seafood industry, or when we saying support the seafood industry, I'm trying to get an understanding of what you really want us to consider, because we're dealing with $10 million and we haven't really actually addressed the issue with the 4.5 that just come available with finding our roots. Correct?
Yes, sir.
All
That's
right.
part of this discussion as well.
Yeah, right. So we have to start making decisions of what we have, because that 4.5 can go basically anywhere, just like John had said. Mr. Amity had said, I'm sorry. Mr. Amity had said, we have an opportunity to reallocate the money where we see need.
Yes, sir.
All right. And I think we're going down the road and we're running out of gas. Does anyone up here have any specific decisions that we want to make to get down the road where we need to go right now? Because we're just kicking the can. Yeah, we're just kicking this can down there, because we've been at this a good little while. Yeah.
You want me to answer you?
Go ahead.
Put me on.
Well, Kevin's up next.
He just asked me a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
That's it.
give it to you.
I didn't come up with the term support the seafood. That was something that we voted on at the beginning. So part of it had grants. The next part was a study. And then it came to see, through the study, what would be needed. The issue is, and it's kind of like Danny said, that not everybody comes to these meetings, and those who have a say, those who want to say something do go to the meetings. Not everybody could have came. People were working. But when I'm looking at the back side of this, you build it, how do you maintain it? Do we keep taking away from roads, bridges, drainage, vegetation? That's my issue. I want my roads done. I want them striped. I want them repaved. I want them striped. I got 3 bridges that are in Chauvin that are in not the greatest shape. So when you're asking me if I want to build something for that, yes, I would love to build what they're asking. But the problem is, how do we maintain it? Where are we going to get the money from to maintain something like this, and the cost of insurance that's going to go along with that? So I'm saying that I wanted to see if it could be moved to, if it could be allocated to dredging on it and doing a part maybe by the conveyance channel, maybe by the floodgates, whatever would work on that part of it. That's what I'm going to, because I don't know how many times they're going to use Safe Harbor. I don't know. Did anybody check, Candace, to see Safe Harbors, how much are they used, like in the?
I don't know if that was part of the plan or not.
Okay, sorry to catch you off guard with that, but that's where I'm at. And I realize that we have to make decisions. I do.
My question to you would be right now, what is your recommendation so we can have that in consideration? Because I'm really leaning toward, to be honest with you, I'm really leaning toward actually coming back and revisiting this. I don't know what Mr. Champagne is actually
moving some of it to the grant part of it, and then looking at that part of it. But this is what I would ask. You said she said 4.5, 5.4.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the other 4.5 from the museum?
The museum.
Yeah, so we have 4.5, 5.4, and another 4.5, correct?
So
and the 1.2.
And the 1.2. So all the
1.2.
numbers. So
12.
you have so with Finding Our Roots Museum, after the expenses that we have already incurred, that we have to pay, that has to go towards it, you have 4.4 million.
Got it.
Support the Seafood Phase 3?
Three.
I can't see.
It's okay.
It's 4.5 million. Community Resilience Center Phase 2 is 5.4 million. And unallocated funding is about 1.2, 1.3 million. Just one quick answer for you, Ms. Chauvin. I want you to know that the maintenance of any safe harbor will not come from roads. That would not be allowed to be used for that. I know what I know where you're coming from, but I just want to make sure we point that out, that is not allowed to be used for that, and we wouldn't use it for that. So.
No, I'm just looking at as a whole.
Yes, ma'am.
What we need, but thank you. I appreciate it. So we have 15 points.
Oh, okay. Yeah. One more thing. To go back on what the project with dredging North Terrebonne. You know the cost of that. You remember the figures that we have there, because that actually would give us.
We have 6.
Yeah.
Statewide flood control.
Yeah, that project's about $7 million.
$7 million. Okay then. Yeah.
That's not this project.
Yeah, but no, I'm just saying to compare the cost of what she was in reference to how far we can actually dredge and what we're dredging.
And the main thing to consider too is how deep you're going.
Right.
It's all about the cost of material. So we're not removing a ton of material in upper body Terrebonne to facilitate boats. We're doing it for drainage, so that's a substantial difference from Little Kaya to North Terrebonne.
Yeah. So and that's the point. I was just bringing that into play. How far we can go with how much money. So we may have to look at different avenues to actually fund a project such as that. Wouldn't be recommended. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm good now.
All right. Mr. Champagne.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my quick question is, if we take the 4.5 million or 4407142 and the unallocated funding, you add those together, can't we use that to fund the pump station, activate the Bayou Phase 1, Bayou Cane Berm, the Phase 2 and the resiliency centers, and still have a little money left over to maybe do something with the VFW Hall and do some dredging?
So, okay, first answer is the VFW Hall unfortunately will not meet the LMI requirements
Okay.
of DR
All right.
money.
Okay, take
So
that
we've got to
one out.
find something else for them, some
But-
other funding. Okay, then tell me what so the 4.4 million and the 1.2.
And then you could do, everything you have listed as additional funding would be covered if you take those two things and move it to additional funding.
So what I have presented is to allocate just the 4.4 million and the 1.2. But that is adding the additional funding to support the Seafood and Community Resilience Center. So if we wouldn't want to add any additional funding to those two projects, we could move them elsewhere.
No. So
No.
what I'm saying is take that money and you could cover all your additional funding. Right?
What I have
Yes.
suggested on here, yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
So then everything that we have on as a project would be funded. If we take those two items, everything's funded.
Correct. Yes, sir. It would be adding what I have in here. So the South Homa Pump Station, the 350,000. The Activate the Bayou Phase 1 Dulac boat launch, 75,000. The Bayou Cane Berm, 112,000. The Housing and Human Service Annex Building, the 575. Support the Seafood, 940, and Community Resilience Center, 3.6. That is taking all of the money from the Finding Our Roots and the unallocated and getting us to that point.
So everything's funded then?
Yes, sir.
No, not necessarily, because, see, the point we have here, because we have option 1 and option 2, so that makes a difference in how much money we have available.
So
Option
if,
two.
it would be option 2.
Option 2?
That is option 2. That funds everything. I'm just saying, if you take those two things, those two pots of money that we have to reallocate and allocate it to all the projects that need to be funded, everything's funded.
So everything is funded, yes, sir. Could these projects, like the dredging or some of the grants, could they benefit from extra funding? Yeah, probably so. Even the South Homa Pump Station and the Berm project, we could find something to build
But I
with
think
any
it's-
additional
I
funding.
think there's even a little more left over after you do all that.
Yes, sir. So,
I'm just saying, just a thought.
so I believe what he is saying is taking exactly what was presented as the backup and that being what we're doing with the money.
And then we don't have to prioritize anything?
We don't.
$8 million.
1 second, Mr. Amity. Mr. Amity?
All right. So if we were to do what Kevin says, but we want to make changes to the support the Seafood 3, we'd need to do that before
What kind of changes to support the Seafood 3?
that's the one with the safe harbor, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so
So,
if we wanted to say pull some of that money and move it into dredging, we can't approve this until we make that change.
you'd have to, so that's all in number 9, agenda, maybe number 9, the last
Yeah.
agenda item. You would have to make that change to the resolution. And legal and I had talked about, with the way that it's presented tonight, we could make those changes to the resolution. Because I do have one other change that I have to make to that resolution.
Would it be better to just wait legal till Wednesday night?
Why would we wait till Wednesday?
You could do it tonight. The resolution's on the agenda for tonight.
But we
if
don't know for sure what we would want to move that money to.
If the council votes to table it till Wednesday, you would see this item reappear on Wednesday's
We
agenda.
already have an agenda item on Wednesday concerning the monies.
Right, but you don't have the
But
resolution.
not the actual resolution.
But is the resolution part of this backup?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it
Number
is.
9, not the one that we're on right now.
Oh, okay, number 9 is. All right, because I was about to say, I didn't see that on this
The-
one.
Go ahead.
All right, thanks, Mr. You good, John?
Yep, thanks.
My question for Candace and legal would be, if we're allocating the funds tonight, number 9, then within the seafood industry, it really won't matter which place we put it, because tonight we'll be allocating the funds to that, to that project. Say it's $5 million, but if you want to move it, if we're wanting to move it from safe harbors to cold storage, that won't really matter, right? If that's making sense.
Yes
what I'm
and
saying.
yes and no. So
Because
to answer that question, so just taking the support the seafood phase 3, what we have of 4.5 million, and we're suggesting an additional 940,000. The decision is the total for the funding. If it's decided that the council would like to do a safe harbor and a cold storage instead of just the safe harbor 2 locations that the consultant is going to present, that can be done because we haven't finished that application yet. We haven't started that application. I don't think I answered your question.
No.
Or I confused us all over
Yeah,
again.
now I'm really lost now. Well, I'm saying
Can you ask the question again? Ignore what I said.
Okay, we currently have a proposed project for support the seafood industry, right?
That is in 3 phases.
That's in phase 3. We currently have a phase 3 of support the seafood industry. And what we're talking about is the cold storage and the safe harbors within phase 3, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. With that within phase 3, if we allocate the additional 940 to that project, which would bring it to 5.4, if we decided to, on the backside of that, to not do the cold storage and only do the safe harbors or vice versa, then it's a matter of us just not submitting, hey, OCD, we decide, well, we're going to go put it all here instead with that, with the cold storage, if
sir.
that makes sense.
It does. I just want to elaborate a little bit more on, and again, unfortunately, we can't have the presentation this week. It was determined that the safe harbor was the more important project to the communities through those meetings. So their suggestion will be to do the 2 safe harbors and not the cold storage. So that additional funding is in order for us to do the 2 safe harbor sites that they have identified.
Okay, and I get it, and I'm impartial. Whatever the community wants, I'm fine with that because I know nothing about seafood other than eating it. But when it comes to the safe harbor part, whatever they decide to do, it's whatever they decide to do. And based on us reallocating that 940 to it, then that was under the impression that, hey, we're going to do the safe harbors. And we can reallocate those funds regardless to other projects. So we can just pull it back out, right? Would that apply?
Yes, sir.
If that makes sense. I know I'm confusing everybody, but.
It does. So let's talk here. We vote tonight or Wednesday night on reallocating, and we reallocate the 940. In 2 weeks, we get a presentation for the safe harbor, and you guys say, nope, I only want to do the safe harbor at Falco Canal. Was that one of them? Sorry. We can then at that point say, okay, we'll go back to OCD and we'll reallocate the funding that wasn't used fully to an already approved project. So I think, yes, you can do that.
Okay, that question answered. Thank you. I know that was hard. And I was saying all that to say, so tonight we can proceed with the allocation on number 9 because we're not going to be in a bind when it comes to support the seafood industry.
That was the easier answer.
Sorry. Took long enough to get there.
Okay, Mr. Babin.
Yeah, we talked about this at the last meeting when we talked about the Finding Our Roots Museum. We said that nothing was etched in stone yet. This was all the projects that were approved, and that we could, as a group, decide where we're going to move the money down the line. And we can, and that's been established by everyone here tonight. I just want to bring up a couple of things, and these are more statements than anything else. We talk about dredging, and the 2 projects that are going to be dredged Upper Grand Kaya, and Upper by Deloge. Those are drainage projects. That's not navigable waterways to try to move boats on, okay? Because that is a very, very expensive process to do that. I would love Grand Kaya from the Combo Bridge to be
Well, let me add you on there. Hold up.
you know, to be added into that. But I know we're talking, the $117 million would not dredge all of the canals in Terrebonne Parish that we need dredged. So there would be nothing for anybody else. When we talk about safe harbors, I got a bridge smack dab in the middle of my district that got damaged by 2 boats, and it's gonna be 5 years on the 29th of this month, and we're not open yet. If there'd have been a safe harbor, and I'm not advocating for safe harbors, I'm just saying that if we'd have had a safe harbor then, that bridge might still be in operation. We don't know that. We don't know anything. We don't know if we have a safe harbor and boats tie up there and they damage something, what's gonna happen? I will tell you one thing, a cold storage, you can't build a cold storage for $4.5 million. I can assure you that, because we've been in the process of building one at our own location, and we're talking $15 to $20 million. And that's not a very big one. We're only talking about maybe 15,000 square feet. Okay, so again, I think we belabored the issue, and belabor is the wrong word. We got a lot of good discussion and ideas where we can move money tonight. We do need to move forward because the clock is ticking. And we can make a decision tonight, as John said, and we can change that money. We can make a decision down the line to pull something out. If it's more beneficial, and the things that John nailed the 3 that I was concerned with. The berm is a top priority for me. And I think Mr. Voisin would probably agree with that one. His area flooded in the last rainstorm, not because the berm was not there, but if it was there, it probably wouldn't have caused as much damage, okay? The pump at the South Homer Pump Station is gonna help alleviate a lot of flooding on the 311 corridor and some of that. And we're adding more pumps to pump out by Martin Luther King by the Popeyes. We're gonna be dumping more water into By Black. If we can't move it out, we're creating another problem. So that's very important. And then the warehouse, we'll call it, behind the Shamrock Building. That's a very important thing that we need for not only Kelly's department, but all of Terrebonne Parish as the years go by. So I agree with John. I think we can make a move tonight and you know, move forward with this. We can't just keep kicking. Each one of us is gonna have a different way, a place where we want to put the money. But the whole key tonight was priorities. So we need to prioritize it what's best for all of Terrebonne Parish. And listen, I'd love to have put money towards the American Legion. It just doesn't fit into this criteria. You know, I would love to do roads and bridges and dredging. It doesn't fit into the criteria. So we're not doing any good talking about it, unfortunately, you know, because we have to find other monies to do those types of things. So I'm ready to move forward. Thank you.
Miss.
On the voting item.
Okay.
We're just.
Candace,
Yes, ma'am.
clarification. We can vote on this. We can make the motion, when it comes to number 9, to vote on this, where the additional monies will go. On Wednesday, if we wanted to move the safe harbor part to grants or something to that part
Yes,
of
ma'am.
it, we can do that. We can move it to the seafood, support the seafood phase 1.
Yes, ma'am.
So much.
Under your agenda item that you have, which is discussion and possible action, you can do
Or-
a motion. It would have to be voted on, a motion and
Yeah, of
vote
course.
that we would move that. Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And it would change whatever is voted on tonight.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, we don't have any other lights on this item. We'll move on to item 3, which is a resolution to approve the purchase of 1 truck for gas distribution division from Lamarck City Ford. Moved by Mr. Amade, seconded by Mr. Babin. Seeing no lights, members vote your machine. Um, 3, 6, 7. Motion passes 7 votes. All right, item 4, resolution to approve the purchase of one F-350 utility truck for gas distribution division from Labarque Board. Moved by Mr. Harding, seconded by, was that you, John? Mr. Amity, Mr. Pledger.
No, that's.
You good? Okay. Seeing no other lights, members vote your machine. Motion passes 8-0. Resolution number 5, resolution to award the bid 26 RB 30, purchase of aggregate materials for various department divisions. Move Mr. Amity. Second, Mr. Babin. Seeing no lights, members vote your machine. Motion passes 8-0. Item 6, resolution to award the bid for project FRA 0006, South Plant Oxidation Pond Cell Number 2, levee repairs to the lowest qualified bidder, Otwell Services LLC. Move Mr. Babin. Second, Mr. Amity. Seeing no lights, members vote your machine. Motion passes 9-0. Item 7, resolution to award the bid 26, drain 21, fabrication of 4 telemetry panels with enclosure to the lowest qualified bidder, Force Industries LLC. Moved Mr. Amity. Second, Mr. Babin. Seeing no lights, members vote your machine. Motion passes 9-0. Item number 8, resolution to reject the bid of Preferred Electric, Inc. for 25 Electric District -42 Shriever Overpass Lighting Wiring Replacement and request authorization to rebid at a later date. Moved Mr. Amity. Second, Mr. Harding. And was that Mr. Babin? Okay. And I see 2 lights. Mr. Amity?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Don't waste time getting that rebid, because I will be on y'all.
All right, and Mr. Harding?
For the record, state the reason for the rejection.
Got it?
Mr. Harding, we had 2 bids that were put in. The lowest bid actually pulled out after, and the next acceptable bid was almost half or double what was budgeted for it. So we do have plans to work on that scope and get it out for rebid as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Seeing no lights, no further lights, members vote your machine. Motion passes 9-0. Item number 9 is a resolution authorizing and approving the allocation of remaining CDBG DR funds to approved projects. Moved by Mr. Amity. Seconded by Ms. Chauvin. Go ahead.
Light, please. I do have one change. The support the seafood, it says phase 2, 940,000. Based on our conversation tonight, that should be phase 3. So if we could just get that change made in those motions, so that way we know that we're talking about the right projects.
Go ahead, Ms. Neal.
You can make a motion to amend and just amend the resolution for now if you need further discussion.
Miss,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In that, to amend that, now we're talking about the resolution, correct? I don't see, now, I get it, we can cover it all, but could we add the motion, or the amendment, what you're saying, Michelle? And also, I'd like to get Village East Community Center in there as a whereas. And I kind of wrote something here. Well, the thing is, I want it to be specific. I'm just, but
You
if
could
if I can ask you,
You could do one amendment at a time, or you can take them both together, whichever.
well, it would be probably easier to do both of them together, or do we have to do them?
I don't
separately.
know. It depends on how complicated your amendment is.
It's very simple.
Okay.
Should, can I make a call that we do, or does that have to be a vote as chairman? That we do one at a time?
Whoever makes the motion is
do it
what we
all.
vote on. So you vote on whatever motion is made.
So we have a motion and a second as it is right now.
Do we? Okay.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna have to make a substitute motion.
Right, that's what I was gonna say, a substitute motion.
Correct.
And just add in the
The
correction, in that substitute motion, and that'll be a one-size-fits-all. I'm asking, I'm not saying that it is, but I'm asking.
You can do it together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, all right. So mine would be, I would like to add in, whereas of the, and I just wrote this, tell me if it's right, Michelle, whereas of the $9,053,882 total project balance to be allocated to the Community Resilience Centers Phase 2, 3.5 million of said project balance be dedicated to the construction and establishment of a Village East Community Center. That's just another whereas, and I just wrote that, so it's adding a whereas after the one right before the bullets.
Okay. Yep, if you could put that in motion form, make a motion to include the whereas after the bullets, which I think you've already done, and then and also make the amendment to the item that Ms. Malden wanted to do.
So,
So moved.
tell me what to say, I don't know.
So you're gonna wanna make a substitute motion
Okay,
to amend and adopt as amended by changing support the seafood phase 2 to support the seafood phase 3, and by adding the whereas paragraph that you read off.
Mr. Chair, what she just said and what I said that's my motion.
All right.
If that's okay.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to have the correct wording so that everybody knows what we're voting for. So it's whereas,
Here you go, Clint.
oh, okay, great.
I wrote it, hopefully you can read it.
Whereas we're have a substitute motion for the resolution that reads, that adds into it the whereas as of $9,053,882 total project balance to be allocated to Community Resilience Centers, Phase 2, 3.5 million of said project balance to be dedicated to the construction and establishment of a Village East Community Center.
Now,
And to correct, support the
Seafood Phase 3.
2 to support the
Phase.
seafood phase 3.
Okay. Does everybody understand the motion?
I don't know if you have it.
In other words,
So
basically, we're taking those 5 things and adding 3.9 million to it for a community center at Village East.
So no, sir.
No, sir?
No, sir. Mr. Pledger, can I ask a question to make sure that we're all understanding what
Sure.
you're wanting to do?
Sure.
So the resolution currently has that we are adding $3,638,882 to Community Resilience Center's Phase 2, which gets us to that total million of $9,053,882. So what you're asking us to do is out of that 9 million, you want to make sure that 3.5 of it is dedicated to the construction and establishment of the Village East.
Correct.
We're not adding 3.5
No,
million
no,
on
no.
top of that.
No,
We're
no,
just
no.
dedicating it to make sure that the
Dedicated.
Village East is one that
It's in
gets
there.
done.
Wait, isn't
Correct.
that what the original resolution says? Because Community Resilience Center Phase 2, isn't that Village East?
No, it's specific though with villages.
So it's not specific, it's just adding the funding there.
Okay.
This would specifically, we would start with the application for the Village East Community Center.
If it is approved Wednesday night.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Babin.
No, there was
No.
no second. There
Yeah.
was no second.
I made the motion.
Oh, okay. Got a motion by Mr. Pledger and a second by Mr. Amity. Do we have any discussion?
Yeah,
You do have the floor, Mr. Babin. I just turned you off. Here you go.
okay, there you go. Okay, so, Brian, what you're asking this is to take to move the 3.9 from the, all these, there's so many numbers out there. You want to move money from the seafood to put it into the Village East building?
No.
That's why I'm having a little hard time understanding. Let him explain it, or let Candace explain it, what she's.
I'm gonna turn you on so you can explain it. Okay, all right. You're green.
Like you. No, Mr. Babin, that is, where the total, once we've reallocated, and please Candace, guide me here and make sure I'm correct. Once we've reallocated the 3.6 million, $3,638,832 to the second phase of the community resilience centers, that will give us a total of $9,053,882. Of that $9,053,882, I'm asking specifically for the Village East Community Center to be established with $3.5 million.
But, okay, under scenario 3, it says $3.9 million. So, for to build the Village East Community Resilience Center. Look at scenario 3, it says $3.9 million.
That's correct.
Okay,
So I think what you're trying to accomplish, Mr. Pledger, is you want to make sure that Village East is a priority and it gets built out of that 9 million.
100%.
So can we not put a dollar amount and just say we want Village East to be constructed and established out of that $9 million?
Alternate 2.
The full center, not the
Full-
pavilion.
Correct. That's fine. That's fine.
That's what the ultimate goal is out of
Right.
this.
okay, but the original motion talked about the berm, and it talked about the pump station, and it talked about the warehouse. Where does that fit in here?
All of it's covered. Everything's covered.
I
Well,
So-
Candace, can you explain it, please?
Yes, sir.
I
Thank
just
you.
want to
So,
make
Mr.
sure,
Babin-
because as we all have our pet projects that we want done, and we want to make sure that they all can get done.
So, Mr. Babin, what is being done is the resolution is staying the same as what is being presented
Okay.
as our suggestions. So we are reallocating, and we're talking about all the same numbers here. So
Right,
we're
right, yeah, Don't
reallocating
mention
Finding
it.
Our Roots Museum and unobligated funding.
Okay.
We are reallocating that to go to South Homa Pump Station, Dulac Boat Launch, berm, support the seafood Phase 3, Community Resilience Center Phase 2. And the annex building, thank you. So out of that whole reallocation of $5.7 million, we are adding additional funding to Community Resilience Phase 2 what we had suggested, nothing more, nothing less, not taken away from anywhere else. It's just adding that the priority would be the Village's full community center.
And you wanted to.
Mr. Harding,
Yeah.
are you done, Brian?
I just wanted to, we can strike the dollar amount and we'll just leave the facility there. And
Mr. Pledger, if you want to amend your substitute motion, you can do so if
I'll-
there's no objection.
okay, I'll amend that substitute motion to remove the dollar amount to only include the facility and its location. I'm good from there.
I'm good with it too, if the second is. Yep, okay.
Yeah, well, that's why I had my light on, even though it was in the discussion, but then the thing is, I want to make sure if you were going to make a mention of the dollar amount, I think he was saying 3.5, 3.6, and then option that I see is like 3.8.
But we're taking the number out.
Yeah, right, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, right. Good.
There's too many of the same numbers.
I'm thinking if I want to say anything. That was a substitute motion, right?
Yes, sir.
I have it all. I'm just I just want to see if I need to mix it up a little bit. We good? All right. Members, vote your machine. All right, the motion passes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yeas. Actually, 6, 3. I know I voted. I see 3 nays. I'm.
You voted as the chairman.
One absent, that's you.
Somebody's absent. That's me. 3. The motion passes, y'all. Motion to adjourn is accepted. Vote.
Second.
2 days plus me is 3 days. How did they get 7 yays? 3 days.
Well, you were absent. You were present twice.
Oh, I'm on there twice?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I'm so important. I'm on there twice. I hate these lights. I'd rather voice vote.
Notice to the public, if you wish to address the council, please complete the public wishing to address the council form located on the end of the counter and give it to either the chairman or the council clerk prior to the beginning of the meeting. All comments must be addressed to the council as a whole. Addressing individual council members or staff is not allowed. Speakers should be courteous in their choice of words and actions, and comments shall be limited to the issue and cannot involve individuals or staff-related matters. All electronic devices used for communication should be silenced for the duration of the meeting. I'd like to call the meeting of the Public Services Committee of August 24th, 2026 to order. Would everybody please rise for the invocation and pledge? Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight and we thank you, Lord, for all that you're doing for Terrebonne Parish. We thank you that your favor and blessings fall upon every citizen that lives within our parish, Lord, and every visitor that comes to visit the parish. Father, we ask that as we make decisions tonight, that your wisdom and guidance would be in our thoughts and in our directions. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Alicia, may we have a roll call, please?
Sir. Mr. Pleasure, Mr. Harding, Mr. Voisin, Mr. Amity, Mr. Champagne, Mr. Hamner, Mr. Babin, Ms. Chauvin, Mr. Trusclair, Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum present.
Thank you, ma'am. Just a matter real quick. Who made the second to the motion to adjourn the last meeting?
Mr. Harding.
Mr. Harding.
I'm sorry. I didn't say it. Yeah, I didn't say it.
All right. Item 1 is a resolution authorizing the execution of change order number 1 for the construction agreement for parish project number 21-DRA-10, state project number H009237, Bayou Terrebonne dredging project, Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana.
Move.
Move, Mr. Hamner. Second, Mr. Champagne. Ms. Kim.
Okay, so where's this money coming from to go there?
Somebody press a light.
Oh, I'm sorry, Noah. So where's the money coming from to go to this? Because it's what, $503 extra $1,000? Okay.
Mr. Leverett.
Okay, so this comes from statewide flood control. We're allocated a certain amount of money out the gate for this project. When the bids came in, they came in lower than that total amount. And we first made sure it was okay, but we determined that we could do some vegetative removing in sections 1 and 3 that weren't originally included in the scope. So that's where that's coming from.
Okay, thanks, Noah. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Chauvin. Mr. Leverett. Seeing no more lights, members, vote your machines. Six yeas, 0 nays, motion carries. Item 2 is a resolution providing for the ratification of the appointment by Parish President Jason W. Bajon of the firm of Delta Coast to provide engineering services for the Equity Pump Station repairs and authorizes Parish President Jason W. Bajon to execute the appropriate engineering contract documents for this project.
Move.
Move, Mr. Hamner. Second, Mr. Harding. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Six yeas, 0 nays, motion carries. Item 3 is a resolution providing approval of amendment number 2 to the engineering agreement for parish project number 20-Road-54 pavement markings project, Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana. Move. That was Mr. Harding? Yes. Second, Mr. Champagne. Ms. Chauvin.
Okay, so did something change that we needed extra money for this?
Mr. Leverett.
Yes, ma'am. So we added, looks like it was additional $6,000
It was.
net, but it was originally $11,000. That was a cost increase due to a project rep for that extended scope of work.
Okay. All right, thanks.
See no more discussion. Members, vote your machines. Seven yeas, 0 nays, motion carried. Item 4 is a resolution awarding and authorizing the signing of a construction contract to the firm of Sea Level Construction, Inc. for parish project number 25-BRG-07 Dulac Pontoon Dry Dock Project, Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana, and authorizing the issuance of the notice to proceed to commence construction of said project. Move, Mr. Babin. Second, Ms. Chauvin. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Mr. Babin.
Yeah, this is something that needs to be done to the pontoon bridge. I just want to assure everybody on By the Lodge and by Grand Kaya, well, especially by Grand Kaya, this is not going to be done until the Buquet Bridge is open and operational. Okay, we can't cut off our nose to spite our face. So, again, this has to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Babin. The vote is 8 yeas, 0 nays. Motion carries. Item 5 is ratifying the appointment of the firm of T. Baker Smith LLC to provide professional services for the Hollywood Road Culvert Replacement Project and authorizing the execution of an agreement for these services.
Second.
Move, Mr. Babin. Second, Mr. Hamner. Seeing no discussion, members, vote your machine. 8 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries. Item 6, a resolution authorizing the parish president to execute an intergovernmental agreement on behalf of Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government between the TPCG and the Terrebonne Levy and Conservation District for flood control and drainage purposes. Move, Mr. Babin. Second, Mr. Harding. Seeing no discussion, members vote your machines. 8 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries. Item 7 is a resolution providing for the acceptance of work performed by Sea Level Construction, Inc. in accordance with the Certificate of Substantial Completion for the replacement of the North Plant Primary Pumps, project number 23-SEW-01. Move, Mr. Harding. Second, Mr. Babin. Seeing no discussion, members vote your machines. 8 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries. Item 8 is a resolution authorizing the parish president to execute amendment number 1 to the maintenance agreement, including mowing and litter pickup with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development for the fiscal year ending June 20th, 2027.
Move.
Move, Mr. Hamner. Second, Ms. Chauvin. Seeing no discussion, members vote your machines. 7 yeas, 1 nay, motion carries. Item 9 is a resolution providing approval of change order number 1 to the Pond 13 levee improvements at the North Wastewater Treatment Plant, which is necessary to increase the volume of borrow material vehicular measurement due to changes between the design survey and the pre-construction survey of the existing Pond 13 interior grades. Move, Mr. Babin. Second, Mr. Champagne. Seeing no discussion, members vote your machines. 7 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries. Item 10, resolution authorizing the parish attorney to submit a formal request to the Louisiana Attorney General for an advisory opinion on the Terrebonne Council on Aging's use of funding for capital projects for the elderly and disabled in Terrebonne Parish.
Move.
Move, Mr. Hamner. Second, Mr. Babin. Mr. Pleasure.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. This is a part of that new requirement that you have to have a resolution from the council in order to even get an opinion. Now, next question would be, have we actually sat down and talked about it? We just at an impasse, we can't figure it out? Or the language?
So it all stems from some litigation that happened during the last administration. There was some, and I did work for the attorney for the last administration. We did a bunch of research, and there was some fighting over who was going to have control over the millages. Terrebonne Council on Aging and the parish eventually just settled everything. So I think the question of whether they should be or could be doing capital projects with their funding from the state may be still at question. And we also want to throw in whether they can use the money that they receive from the parish revenue on the taxes collections for capital funding as well, for capital projects funding as well. That question never really was answered during the last administration. I know that there's one side, the parish administration believed that they could not have capital funding, and TCOA believed, and they did in fact have capital projects that for properties that they owned. So before the parish and the Council on Aging move forward with any future projects, it wasn't the idea to go and get some guidance from the AG on whether the AG thought that the Council on Aging should be doing capital projects to fund housing. Just to make sure, I think there was a question of, what type of entity is the Council on Aging? It's a quasi nonprofit. I'm sorry, it's a quasi public. It's a nonprofit. What happens if Council on Aging is no longer funded through the state? Which, it's a big what if, but it's just a question of, we want to get it cleared up before the next budget comes in and before the next allocations for 2027 come in, if the AG would be able to answer us on that. But there was always a requirement, I'm sorry, Mr. Pledger, there was always a requirement to come to the council to get a resolution to go to the AG if it was a question that, if it was a question of a function that the council had control over. And because this council has control over the budgeting for the Council on Aging, the council has to give a resolution in order to submit the question to the AG. The Terrebonne Council on Aging had a meeting last week, and they reviewed the request during their board meeting, and they've approved their executive director to sign on to this request to send to the AG. So they're in.
Okay, all right. And just one other question comes about when you were making the comment. The parish, we're the only ones who can levy the tax,
Correct.
right? So are we the stewards of those funds? Oh, Candace wants to talk.
Candace
Go
wants to talk. She's been talking a lot tonight.
ahead. Right.
So Terrebonne Parish Council is the body that can levy and collect the property taxes for the elderly millage. It is Terrebonne Parish's government's millage. We have an agreement with Council on Aging that they will fulfill the programs for the elderlies that are part of that millage.
And aren't we capable of administering some of those funds too as well?
Yes, sir.
That is correct.
So
Okay, thank you.
The biggest question is, can that millage and or the state money be used for housing? That's what the AG's question really is, or our question to the AG.
Good. Mr. Harding?
Mr. Babin.
No, you were two.
Oh.
On here, he was two.
Yeah, okay, well.
Oh, what was up there?
Which is the point that I'm getting to, because I've been associated with it, and I'm aware of that. And it was the concern that I had, is the fact that, you know what I mean, we were talking about disaster recovery money and whether people were able to make a profit. And so we were looking, I was looking at the fact that the situation, what they've actually improve some of their services that they were actually providing for the elderly. But then that was one area of concern that I have, because they were acquiring property and actually being rather competitive to Section 8 to a point, and having the elderly. So then again, Mr. Pledger alluded to the fact that, yes, we hold the money. And that's where the impasse was with the last administration, is the fact that we seized the opportunity because we felt as if that particular administration and that the council that went along with it, is the fact that we wanted some other things that were done. So
It
I'm
goes
glad
beyond even the last administration. I think it goes back to Mr. Claudet's administration.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. Mr. Babin?
Yeah, you alluded to it, Candace or Michelle, one of y'all, about, but Mr. Melvin Marlborough is here tonight, who's the chairman of the Council on Aging. And Melvin, if you'd just like to get up, everybody wants this clarified, and I just want him to let you know that they are willing to go along with this as well. Tell them about your board meeting the other day and how it.
Melvin Marlborough, 542 by Lodge Road. I'm the chairman of the council, the board of the Council on Aging. We own the property out in St. George and Gray, purchased from the previous administration of the Council on Aging. As chairman, I appointed an ad hoc committee to address the ownership of that property. We have several options. One is to develop the property, the other one's to sell. We started looking for different funding to do something with the property. We met with a company out of Metairie called Gulf Coast Partnerships. They came to us with an option of bringing funding to have the property developed under some type of tax credits. I don't fully understand it. Mr. Will Bowling, who represents Gulf Coast, would be willing to come and explain it to y'all specifically. But I thought it might be best to go through Candace and Ms. Neal to make sure that we do this process correctly, and this is what they've come up with. So we're just looking to dot the i's, cross the t's, and do something with this property one way or the other.
Thank you, Melvin.
Thank you,
That's it.
sir. Mr. Charles Clare?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Candace and Michelle, even though an Attorney General ruling comes back saying that it's perfectly legal to use the millage for housing, doesn't mean that, the council still has the option to say, no, we're not funding.
That's correct.
We have that option.
Right, the
And I don't
council
think,
controls the
personally, I
budget.
don't think we should. We went through this once before. It should be a service function for the elderly. This new board and the new administration really been doing a good job since the previous director left. As far as the so-called waiting list and people being denied services, I haven't been getting any complaints. So they're really doing a good job of commending y'all for doing that. But I think, we need to, one thing we still need to do on the Council on Aging is definitely improve our food quality. Because some of the residents that I talked to, they've been telling me that the food quality, since Terrebonne Parish quit providing it and went to Lafourche Parish, has been substandard. So, and I see you back up, and I hope you have some good news for me.
As of July 1st, we took on a new contract with a new provider. We contracted with a company called Trio, who's a very large corporation who specifically serves elderly meals. They're multi-state. In the state of Louisiana, they have 3 kitchens, and they service currently 18 different parishes. Starting July 1st of this year, Trio has taken over the supplying of the meals. So we've changed vendors and went from working with Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office to a contracted company that specifically services the elderly. We have found that the quality of the food has increased. The kitchen out of Harvey is supplying us now. They went from 3,800 meals to 4,800 meals. Council on Aging is delivering 1,000 meals a day. They are having some growing pains with increasing their volume that much, but they are very responsive to our issues, and they are working on getting the problems corrected. So we have made some changes in the food quality. Yes, sir.
So we transport the food from Harvey to Terrebonne Parish to distribute.
Actually, when we were dealing with Lafourche Parish, we would have to pick up the meals in Thibodeau. The Harvey company delivers them to our warehouse every morning.
And that's good. But like I said, I just want to bring it, make it public that, the council, even though the Attorney General rules that it's okay, it's legal to do it, we don't have to. We have the authority to scratch it.
That's correct. Even if the AG answers in the affirmative that they can perform, that they can use the revenue to do capital projects, the council would still have the ability to control the budget. The parish always would have the ability to control the budget for the Council on Aging.
Right. Thanks. That's fine.
Thank you, Mr.
If I may, I'd like to share one other thing on housing. Currently, the Council on Aging manages a 50-unit apartment building for HUD. Of those 50 units, we have a waiting list of 36 people waiting to get in on that 50-unit building. 3 years ago, we started a voucher program because the waiting list was up to 75. So we started a vouching program. We're working with Kelly's group. They administer it for us and we fund it. And what that does is basically use the same funding program that HUD uses, but it's financed with Council on Aging money. We're currently issuing 75 vouchers a month. So we have the 50-unit apartments plus 75 voucher clients that we're housing. On the voucher program, we increased the funding 3 years in a row. And even with the 75 vouchers, we have 13 people waiting for vouchers. So there is a need for additional housing for the elderly, and that's the reason why we're trying to push this project forward.
All right. And also, Mr. Marlboro, I'm sorry. Thank you,
No,
Mr.
that's
Chair.
your light.
All right. I wanted to ask who, you have the 56 unit?
50 units.
50 units currently for the elderly. Now, the funds that are generated from that, does the Council on Aging retain those funds?
It's a HUD project, 202 grant. It was built, I think, 12 years ago. And HUD currently collects all of the rent and subsidizes the apartment building for it to remain viable and maintained. So the money actually goes to HUD, not to the Council on Aging.
So basically, it's just like CDBG-DR funds, program income, and it just puts it back into the facility. It sounds like to me, if I'm right, that's what it sounds like. But I get it. But also, thanks for inviting me out to actually try while you guys were working through the food distribution process. I tried the old way from. I sat down and had lunch with everybody over there with the old way, and I can't tell you if it was good or bad until I try the new one to see which one is the better of the two. So I'm open for that whenever. But thank you.
The invitation open to anyone to join us at the centers for lunch.
Thank you, Mr. Pleasure. Ms. Chauvin?
Okay. So, Mr. Marlboro, I would love to learn more about the housing part and probably just make a meeting with you to learn how many more, how efficient this is and the waiting list and the different aspects of that part. Also, I want to tell you thank you for being responsive to the food issue because I know that was one of the big things, coming out of the Chauvin area at that time. I didn't get to go try the new one. I definitely will. The old one left me in a bit of a crunch, but I'm looking forward to it. But thank you. I appreciate you doing the job that you're doing. Thanks.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Ms. Chauvin. Thank you, Mr. Marlboro. That's all for the questions. Members, vote your machines. 8 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries. Item 11, pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 4216A2, the Public Services Committee may convene into executive session with administration to discuss the litigation, negotiation, strategy, and settlements relative to the case of Conti Enterprises, Inc. versus Providence GSE Associates, LLC, docket number 174385E, 32nd Judicial District Court, Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana. Ms. Neal, who's attending?
Thank you. Attending tonight will be the members of the council, Ms. Malden, CFO, our parish president, our chief administrative officer, and myself. Oh, and we also have Derek Versajay and Patrick Yancey, who are assistant parish attorneys. They're waiting for us.
Okay. All right, guys. Steve, Danny, you got them?
I wanted to ask, no, I won't take it for a second. Is there, how do I know which one of those communities are the ones that they voted on? The tier 2 that was shown on the TV last meeting?
So outside, Candace Curtin, outside of them saying Bill G's, I don't think the rest have been decided yet.
They voted on tier 2, right? Or am I wrong? They just allocated the fund?
So they voted Villages Community Center called 2 villages. They didn't prioritize.
They just put the money there. Oh, I appreciate that, actually. Thank you. Yeah, you caught that. I missed that. I was like, oh, that must just be tier 2. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I wrote about the,
Oh, wait, hold on. Stuff.